Okay, I will call the meeting of the Everman City Council to order. It is Tuesday, April 14th, 2026, and the time is 6:05. Everybody please rise for a moment of silence followed by a pledge of allegiance. Hold on a second. Chaplain here?
Yes.
Would you like to say a word? Almost forgot about you.
Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening to praise your name. We thank you for all the blessings that you have given us, so many that we take for granted. And tonight we thank you particularly for our city council, for all the hard work they do for this city. We ask you to bless them as they go forward in their endeavors. And tonight also, Father, we recognize our dispatchers, our telecommunicators, for all that they do. Our unsung heroes in the first responder world, Lord, we ask you to bless them and keep them as they do their very special duties. Father, we ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
First item on the agenda is consent agenda. Item A is minutes, Everman City Council meeting from March 10th, 2026. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of meeting minutes for 3/10/2026. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Would you poll the council?
Place 1. Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item is financials from February 2026. I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I move we accept the financials as read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Would you poll the council?
Place 1. Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item is presentations. Due to the number of presentations, I've got a couple council members going to read some of these for me, so I'll read the bulk of them, but just be patient with us. All right, the first one is proclamation for National Library Week. Proclamation recognizing National Library Week and honoring the Forest Hill Public Library District. Whereas libraries serve as vital community institutions and provide free and equitable access to information, technology, and educational resources for residents of all ages, and whereas libraries play a critical role in promoting literacy, lifelong learning, workforce development, and civic engagement, and whereas the Forest Hill Public Library District has consistently demonstrated its commitment to serving the community by offering diverse programs, resources, and services that enrich the lives of residents and strengthen the fabric of our city, and whereas the dedicated staff, volunteers, and leadership of the Forest Hill Public Library District work tirelessly to ensure that the library remains a welcoming, inclusive, and innovative space for all. And whereas National Library Week will be celebrated April 19th through April 25th, 2026, with the theme Find Your Joy, highlighting the ways libraries spark curiosity, creativity, and connection within our community. Now therefore be proclaimed by the Everman City Council, does hereby recognize April 19th through 25th as National Library Week in the city of Everman, encourages all residents to visit the Forest Hill Public Library District, discover new opportunities for learning and enjoyment, and celebrate the important role the library plays in helping each of us find your joy. Find your joy.
And Mayor, we have Mr. Hardrick and Company from Forest Hill Public Library District here. Would love to get a picture with all the council and the library team if we could. So you want to come on up?
I need a copy of that picture.
Yes, ma'am.
Michael, thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate everything y'all do. So y'all do an amazing job up there. Thank you.
Okay, so next item is proclamation for National Telecommunicators Week. The Mayor Pro Tem Susan Mackey will read.
Proclamation recognizing National Public Safety Telecommunications Week and honoring the Tarrant County Regional Communications Center. Whereas public safety telecommunicators serve as the first and most critical point of contact for individuals in times of emergency, providing a vital link between the public and emergency responders. And whereas these dedicated professionals answer emergency and non-emergency calls, provide life-saving instructions, coordinate police, fire, and emergency medical services, and perform their duties with exceptional skill, professionalism, and composure under pressure. And whereas the Tarrant County Regional Communications Center, TCRC, represents a model of regional collaboration, providing high-quality, efficient, and reliable emergency communication services to the City of Everman and partnering agencies. And whereas the telecommunicators and staff of TCRC demonstrate unwavering commitment, compassion, and excellence while working behind the scenes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to protect the lives and property of our residents. And whereas National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week is observed annually during the second full week of April to recognize these unsung heroes and honor their essential contributions to public safety. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the City of Everman Council does hereby recognize April 12th through 18th as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of Everman and encourages all residents to join in recognizing and thanking these exceptional individuals for their critical role in keeping our community safe. Honorable Mayor Ray Richardson.
We get all of our dispatchers to come up. Yep. Yeah, you've got a crew of them here.
Yay.
A whole team.
I went ahead and grabbed it. Next item is proclamation for National Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week. Proclamation recognizing National Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week and honoring municipal animal services, whereas animal care and control professionals play a vital role in protecting the health, safety, and welfare of both residents and animals within our community, and whereas these dedicated individuals enforce local and state laws related to animal welfare, respond to emergency and non-emergency calls, investigate cases of neglect and cruelty, and promote responsible pet ownership. And whereas Municipal Animal Services works diligently to provide compassionate care to animals, reunite lost pets with their owners, facilitate adoptions, and educate the public on humane treatment, and responsible stewardship. And whereas animal care and control officers often serve in challenging and unpredictable environments, demonstrating professionalism, courage, and passion while safeguarding both people and animals. And whereas National Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week is observed annually during the second full week of April to recognize and celebrate the important contributions of animal care and control personnel. Now therefore be proclaimed by the Everman City Council does hereby recognize April the 12th through the 18th as National Animal Care and Control Week in the City of Everman, encourages all residents to show appreciation for these professionals and to support their efforts by promoting responsible pet ownership and the humane treatment of all animals.
We can get our MAS team, come on up, the whole team.
Yeah. Where's Ellie? Look, the dog needs to be in the picture too. She's the stand-in. Mhm. Craig, could we get the puppy dog in the picture? Well, yeah. Yeah. She's the representative. Okay, maybe not, right? Sorry. Take it quick, picture. Yay! See, it was better with the dog in it. I love a little flag.
Okay, next proclamation is National Administrative Professionals Day, and Councilmember Davila will read that one.
Proclamation recognizing Administrative Professionals Day. Whereas administrative professionals are essential to the effective and efficient operation of government, providing critical support that enables departments, leadership, and services to function at the highest level. And whereas these dedicated individuals demonstrate professionalism, organization, adaptability, and attention to detail while managing complex responsibilities and serving as the backbone of daily operations. And whereas administrative professionals often serve as the first point of contact for residents, visitors, and partners, representing the City of Everman with courtesy, knowledge, and a commitment to excellent customer service. And whereas their contributions frequently extend beyond their job descriptions, reflecting a strong work ethic, teamwork, and a commitment to public service that enhances the quality of life for our community. And whereas Administrative Professionals Day is celebrated annually on the Wednesday of the last week on April to recognize the important contributions of administrative professionals in the workplace. Now therefore, be it proclaimed by the Everman City Council does hereby recognize April 22nd as Administrative Professionals Day in the City of Everman and encourages all residents to recognize and celebrate the outstanding contributions of these individuals. Honorable Mayor Ray Richardson.
All right, and council, we have, I know Jared's here, Abdil, if we can get you guys to come up, Miss Mindy as well. Unfortunately, we've got a bug that's apparently going through City Hall, so we have several staff members that are out. But I do want to praise specifically these two gentlemen real quick. If y'all don't know Jared and Abdil, I think everybody in Everman knows them by now. They are the best front office clerks that we've ever had. They are absolutely amazing. I feel like every time their customer service skills, every time somebody calls up here, I don't know if they worked at J.C. Penney before or what, but they are just, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Very, very nice, and I know we get a lot of very positive feedback from them, and they go through a lot. They get beat up a lot at the front window. Unfortunately, it's the nature of the business, but they always show up to work every single day with a smile on their face, so we certainly love to show appreciation to them. They're amazing. Yes.
Next up, presentation by the Alliance for Children during Child Abuse Awareness Month. Julie Evans, Executive Director.
Mayor, Council, we do have Miss Julie Evans here. She is the Executive Director for the Alliance for Children. Normally, as you come on up. As we normally do this each year, normally we present a proclamation and appreciation to them, but they wanted to come and share some special information with you. So you have a blue folder here that is from Alliance for Children, and she also has a presentation as well. So, Ms. Evans, I'll turn it over to you. Oh, let me push that button, make sure it's green. Sorry.
We're green.
All
Does that
right,
work?
there we go. Thank you.
Well, what an impressive group of individuals you have had here today. So I feel honored to be a part and see so many amazing folks that are supporting your citizens here in the city of Everman. I'm grateful to be a part of it for sure. We are so grateful to be a part of your team. And that's certainly how we consider ourselves, as a part of your team and a part of what it looks like to respond when children have been a victim of a crime. And, you know, with April being Child Abuse Prevention Month, we did want to do something a little bit different this year, where we really kind of go out and talk in depth about what it looks like for this team to show up for children and families in your communities. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have as well. Our mission as a nonprofit here in Tarrant County, as you're seeing on the screen, is kind of threefold. And everything we do is in support of child victims and falls into one of three categories. At the heart of what we do as a Children's Advocacy Center is to coordinate a teamed response to investigations. And when I say teamed response, it's really, truly that. Everything we do, good or bad, whether we want to or not, is together. I mean, it's through a teamed response, it's united. And that's really a call out to acknowledge that when children have been a victim, there's not just one of us that has to show up, or that needs to show up, to really kind of put the pieces back together for that child and family. There's so many different angles and so many different lanes that families need from us when this type of trauma has taken place. When we show up, or when these kiddos show up at our doors, for most of our families, it is their worst day. And so how do we lock arms together as professionals in the field, but really in standing in unison with children and families? So what you're seeing on the screen is a glimpse of what that means for us when we say a teamed response. We say multidisciplinary team often in our world. And what I'm really proud to say is what started as a good idea and really a drive to reduce trauma for victims has been so successful that now in Texas, this model of a Children's Advocacy Center is now written into law. There's really thank you. Yeah, we're really proud of that, as should the city. What we love is this commitment that every child in Texas should have access to this type of response to ensure that their needs are met, both from a protection lane, hence our partnership with Child Protective Services, but also from a criminal justice lane, which of course for you all is with your police department, who I have to say, I can't go any further without saying that, you know, when we were doing something a little bit different this year, inevitably there's a handful of our staff that are coming out and talking to different cities. And my first interaction with Detective Morgan was a pretty significant case that I think we'll all probably remember. And so I asked my team that worked primarily with your city, I was like, tell me what's going on in Everman. And they were like, in all caps, all it said was, Detective Morgan is awesome. Like, it was like, okay, enough said. And of course they went on to explain how collaborative he is, how responsive he is when my team reaches out and says, hey, this is a case we're seeing, do you have it, do we need to make a report? Not only is he quickly responsive, he's quickly jumping on that case in a timely and efficient and effective response. There's no doubt this police department believes in the benefit of a teamed response and believes in supporting victims. We've seen that time and time again. So thank you for letting us walk with your team. It means a lot to us. And while criminal justice is a big part of what we do, we also want to focus on healing. And healing looks at their bodies, it looks like their emotions, at their mental state. So we're going to focus holistically on all of that for the kids and families that we serve. Now, we don't see all child abuse or neglect in Tarrant County, so I do want to call out that we are really kind of working hand in hand with your residents when there's belief that a child's abuse has risen to a criminal level. In Texas, CPS has different laws than criminal justice does, so those don't always align. What you're seeing on a screen is the types of cases that we tend to work in partnership with you. So we work all major injuries, so things like broken bones, head injuries, burns, things of that nature. We're a part of child fatality investigations when a child has been believed to be the victim of sexual abuse, and whether that's sexual abuse in a home, in a school, by a stranger, all the way to trafficking cases. Those are children and families that we're going to walk with and support. We do this through 3 different locations. I know you're seeing 4 buildings. Our Arlington campus has 2 buildings on it, but it's all in one location. For the vast majority of your families, we're seeing them in our Fort Worth center. But really, we ask our partners to go to the center that's closest to the child, where the child lives. So there's times where your detectives would come all the way to a different center depending on if the child lived closer, but the criminal case happened here. And of course, they're accommodating, and all of our services are available at all locations. So we really want to make sure that everything is replicated and that families do not have to drive all across Tarrant County if we can avoid it at all. Depending on where you work or where you live or where you play, you know the pain of what it means sometimes of driving across Tarrant County. So having 3 locations really helps us benefit families. Now, one of the first things we tend to do with children and families during the course of an investigation is what we call a forensic interview. So you're seeing that here, where you're getting to see a glimpse of what a room looks like for us. And this is one of the early things that Children's Advocacy Centers set out to do differently in communities, which is to eliminate or really reduce the amount of times children had to tell their stories. Before we existed, on average, during a criminal and civil investigation, children would have to tell their story 9 different times. And know that that's no longer in practice for your families. These interview rooms are set up in all of our offices. Alliance for Children employs dedicated staff whose sole job is to talk to kids. They are trained in child linguistics, they are trained in child development, civil and criminal law, a semi-structured interviewing protocol. Said differently, their job is to create a safe place for kids to tell their story. And while my staff are experts in doing that, yours are expert in the investigation. So your detective and our CPS investigators are watching in real time via closed circuit television. The best interview we're going to do is when we do that together and make sure that no information is left unsought. During that first visit, this becomes their statement, if you will. And this is a critical piece to kind of often be the first kind of jumping start for the investigation. It shouldn't be the only, it should be the beginning. And then, as you might imagine, a critical piece that's important to children and families' long-term well-being is how we can lock arms with them to really focus on healing. Every family that walks through our door needs something a little different from us. We have families who are instantly supportive and instantly believing, and really what they need from us is mental health. And we'll talk about that. We provide that. But then we also have families who overnight a single-parent household is created because of what's happening in the home. So how we wrap arms with that caregiver and how we support them really matters for the long haul, and how we keep that child protected today, but also keep them protected for the long haul. So that just means something different for all of our families. And we have family advocates, is what we call them, at all of our locations that are working with caregivers to assess needs and begin to provide resources in that way. And then mental health is a big piece. Trauma counseling is critical for victims and their caregivers to get on the other side of this. So all of our locations have dedicated therapists who are specially trained in trauma modalities to really support kids and families from an emotional well-being. And all of that is provided at no cost to children and families. Now, in last year in Tarrant County, we saw just over 4,500 kids that were validated as victims of abuse and neglect. And this is CPS data for the whole county, but you'll see that just over 2,000 of those kids were served through one of our centers in that kind of reduced workload that we talked about. So those are cases that came through our doors with both that child protection and then the potential for that criminal intervention as well. I'm not going to go through this. I just wanted to point it out because it's in your packet. This is a great kind of visual to look at as you want to continue to understand kind of what it looks like to run 2 investigations concurrently, which is what we're doing on all of our cases. We have on one side kind of what it looks like to run that criminal investigation and how it works on our cases. But then on the flip side of that, you're really at the same time, the same family, the same set of facts, running a Child Protective Services investigation. So it's critical that those 2 entities work together, that they share information, that they support families together. This really, in an urban area like Tarrant County, allows us to be more effective. It also allows us to be more efficient with our resources. So it's really an important piece of what we're doing collectively across the county. And right there, kind of sandwiched in the middle, you see Alliance for Children and kind of the services that are coordinated in response to what children and families need. So hopefully that's a good resource as you look across. So, and then lastly, from a mission perspective, what does it look like when we take all that we know about investigations and now flip that towards the community? What would it look like if we could prevent a kid from coming through our doors? And so we've got prevention education that we provide to kiddos, to professionals in the field, to parents. So if there's anywhere that you would like us to come out and do education, know that we're up for doing that. We've got curriculums around body safety. We've got curriculums around internet safety. So many of our cases now are having an online component where the offender and the child are meeting online for the first time. So it's a big piece that we're talking to caregivers and kiddos about as well. So we hope that this kind of a little bit different type of presentation gives you a deeper glimpse into how we're partnering with your city every day. We really are grateful for your trust in us and grateful for your partnership. It means more than we can say. Your kids are important to us. Your detectives are important to us. They do big work for us, and we're really proud of them. So, and proud of what we kind of do together on behalf of children and families. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but please know, just thank you. It's really meaningful to us. So, yeah, of course.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay, you're next. So
Oh, we're gonna do a proclamation too.
it's not a proclamation.
Yeah, I love it.
but
Thank you. Yeah.
Recognition presented to the Alliance for Children in sincere recognition of your unwavering dedication, compassion, and service to the children and families of our community. City of Everman extends its deepest gratitude to the Alliance for Children for the critical role you have played in supporting law enforcement and protecting vulnerable children, including your instrumental involvement in the investigation surrounding
Including your instrumental involvement in the investigation surrounding the tragic case of Noel Rodriguez Alvarez. Your organization's commitment to providing forensic interviews, advocacy, counseling services, and coordinated care has been invaluable, not only in this case, but in the countless others impacting the city of Everman. Through your tireless efforts, you bring hope, healing, and justice to those who need it most. The partnership between the city of Everman and the Alliance for Children represents the very best of collaboration and public service, ensuring that children are heard, protected, and supported every step of the way. Your work makes a profound and lasting difference in our community, and for that, we are deeply grateful. Presented this 14th day of April 2026, Honorable Mayor Richardson.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. The Noel case, it's been near and dear to us, and we want that to come to a conclusion. Okay, next item is swearing-in ceremony. Code Enforcement Officer Marcy Beecham.
Good evening. Last month, I told you that we were about to, it should be on, that we're bringing on a new code enforcement officer, and that we would be formally introducing you to her in this meeting. So tonight, we're going to do her formal swearing-in ceremony, and then shortly after that, you're going to get to hear her first report of her monthly activities. I think you're going to be surprised. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Marcy Beecham,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of City of Everman Code Compliance Officer
City of Everman Code Compliance Officer
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So, God.
Congratulations.
Next item, item G, is recognition of the Director of Public Works on his recent achievement of obtaining the TCEQ Class A wastewater treatment operator and Class A water operator license.
You want me to?
I'm good with this one.
Okay.
As long as you don't throw anything in here. Okay, recognition presented to Gilbert Ramirez, Director of Public Works. In recognition of your outstanding professional achievement in obtaining your Class A water operator license and Class A wastewater operator license through the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ. This accomplishment reflects an exceptional level of expertise, dedication, and commitment to excellence in the field of public works and environmental stewardship. Your achievement demonstrates not only advanced technical knowledge and leadership, but also a continued commitment to protecting public health, ensuring regulatory compliance, and delivering the highest level of service to the residents of the City of Everman. Your leadership and professionalism set a standard of excellence for our organization, and this milestone is a testament to your hard work, perseverance, and dedication to your craft. City of Everman proudly recognizes and commends you for this significant accomplishment and your continued service to our community. Presented this 14th day of April, 2026.
And so y'all understand too, the Class A water license and Class A sewer treatment license, just one of those is an incredible accomplishment, and Gilbert achieved both. It is the highest level of certification that a public works employee can have, and it takes 5 years minimum, I believe, right? 8 years minimum to achieve, and it's very rare to have any staff member have that certification, and he is the first ever Director of Public Works that we've had with that level of certification. So, quite a commitment.
Okay, next item, item H, presentation of the Everman Police Department 2025 Racial Profiling Report, Chief Al Brooks.
Hello again. Every year, we are mandated by the state to complete a review review of racial profiling and to assess our compliance with the state prerequisites. Again, this year we were lucky enough to contract with Dr. Alex Del Carmen, a very highly acclaimed criminologist. I'm sure most of you have seen him on the news frequently whenever there's an issue involving criminology. He's the go-to for several of the major networks. You've got the printout of the report in your packet, I believe. I'm not going to bore you with all of the numbers. There's a lot, about a 75-page report that basically reviews traffic stops, pedestrian stops, any contact we have of an investigative nature, and they want to make sure that we're not engaging in any racial profiling activities. Make sure everything's fair, equal to everybody. So they analyze everything that we do based on race, based on location, several criteria that we have to meet. The main points that you need to look at, you're welcome to look at all the numbers, they're public data. But you'll find on page 11 of the report, the total number of stops that were involved in this research was 1,851. And the absolute main factor that we want to highlight goes way back. Looking for the right page. To page 24, under conclusions. Just want to point out the fact that the Everman Police Department has achieved full compliance with the Texas Racial Profiling Law and associated statutory requirements. It goes on to state what that means, what that says about our department and the compliance that we have achieved for the state mandate. Any questions on the racial profiling report? Great. Thank you.
Next item, citizens' comments. You have any?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we have one, right? We should turn in the card. We have one over there. About the streets. Streets on there? Oh, okay, do you have it? She was commenting during the mayor's youth advisory council. She thought it was, she's got some concerns about streets. She just wanted to bring it up. We'll get it.
Okay. Well, come on up. We can get you fill this up after you're done. Could you state your name and
Yes, I'm Artie Dawson.
can you get up to the mic so we can hear you?
Yes, I'm Artie Dawson. Put it down. Okay.
There we go.
I got a big mouth, so I have to watch. Okay. That's okay. Yes, I've been part of this neighborhood. I'm Artie Dawson, and I've been out here for some years. So I just had some questions and trying to get some understanding and complaining too. Why? One thing that I wanted to come and see, what are we doing working with Fort Worth, Wichita? Wichita Street is so horrible. And I know Wichita breaks up. Fort Worth, Forest Hill, Everman, back Forest Hill. So it kind of goes up and down. But what are we doing with the streets? The streets are horrible. And so that was one of my concerns. And the second concern I had was, I felt like community off of Wichita from Thompson Street to Bell Street has been kind of blocked off from coming out of that community. Because when we come out of Bell Street, we can't come across by the park. And I don't know if they have thought about reconsidering to making around the park to be back a two-way street. And that was one of the things I wanted to speak about, was that. And the third thing is animal control done a wonderful job. But I trapped a couple animals, and animal control did wonderful by coming by and picking them up. But they educated me on catch and release. So the young lady came and got the cat for me and released it about 2 doors down. So I just wanted her to release the cat maybe 2 blocks down. Because I know catch and release, that means someone in my area is putting food out probably. And I'm kind of a hoarder, so I have a lot of junk around there, and I just choose not to feed animals, and I don't want them abused. So I thought that was the wisest thing to do, is just catch and then have them to come and pick it up. But she let it out two doors from me, and I was like, okay, that's not a wonderful solution for me. So I don't know. Sometimes you guys don't know what's going on because it's not a big blowed up situation, but sometimes you just want to hear a little feedback on what we can do to even help ourselves. So thank you for listening.
So council can't engage back with you, but I do want to answer one of your questions. I'm going to give you my card, so you can email me anytime you have any other street questions. And then Ray Renchler right there, he's our animal services manager, so I'm sure he'll probably snag you here in just a second about your third one. But on Wichita Street, the majority of Wichita Street, what's real bad, is in the city of Fort Worth. It's outside of our jurisdiction, but there is funding approved, and they are working. The construction that you see going on right there right now, they're moving the utilities over because funding has been approved and allocated for an expansion of Wichita, so they are about to widen and expand that. It's just real messy right now and not a lot happening. It's very bad, but it's coming, and it's about to be 4 and 5 lanes, so it is coming. So, all right?
For the quick response. Appreciate it. Thanks for getting my attention because I didn't know how to turn it in. Thank you. I just wanted to bring up to my concern of I hear a lot of shooting from Thompson Street down to Bell Street, and it's during different times of the day, and it's a field that backs up to the last street. Thompson's the last street in our community, a section off to the field. So I just wanted to show my concerns on the gun shooting. We have a gun range, Alpine, and so I don't know if that's something we can address or need to be told about, but I really have concerns on the shooting. It's just a gun in the air. It's obvious it's in the air, but it's constant. Thank you for letting me know.
Okay, next item, discussion items. Item A, presentation and discussion of the Massa? You remember? Massa Access, presentation discussion of the Massa Access Program for the City of Everman residents, HEB International.
Perfect. Mayor and council, we have, and you'll recognize one of them, Mr. Rodney Dryden with Hub International, and then Mr. Will Winters with Massa, right? Massa.
Yes.
All right, Massa. Rodney approached the mayor and I with this exceptional program. Sounds like a great opportunity, so they're here to share it with you.
Craig, thank you. Mayor, thank you. Council, thank you for having us. So just a little bit of background, if I can have 30 seconds, and then I'm going to turn it over to Will Winter. He is with Massa. So one of our cities actually came to us with a need, and the need was they were offering an emergency medical transport service to their residents through their water bill. And the problem was that particular service they were offering, their residents didn't cover their area. And so they came to us with a need, and there wasn't a program like this really anywhere in the country that served the entire United States and Canada. So the program that we've developed to solve a problem for one of our municipal clients was through Massa, Will's company. And what we've basically done is created a program. There's not another one like it in the U.S. It's available to your residents through your water program, and it's an opt-out program, and we can talk more about that. But there's opportunity. It's a tremendous benefit opportunity for the residents of Everman. Additionally, for the Everman EMS service, it's an opportunity to receive funds if they transport a person that is covered by the program. So it's really a great opportunity not only for the residents but for the city itself to achieve some revenue through MASSA that they otherwise don't have access to now, because the collection rate for EMS services is extraordinarily low, if not zero. So it's a huge opportunity. And I don't want to steal all of Will's thunder, because we worked in conjunction with MASSA to solve this problem for one of our clients, and it has been really, really well received. I've represented the city of Everman for a long time, and I believe in this program, and I believe that it's two things. It solves a problem for residents because of the rate of refusal of medical transport, and then secondly, it assists in helping solve a revenue collection program for our EMS services. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Will. He'll run through the program. If you have any questions, we're here. Thank you.
I'm taller, so. Yeah, by the way, the MASSA, whatever, that's the ongoing joke, even internally. Nobody quite sure, exactly what it is. We all say something different. But as Rodney mentioned, this is something that, we really wanted to, bring just to your attention and really have a discussion today. Just really about the opportunity that exists for the residents, as well as obviously for the EMS service itself as well. Let's see if I can get this to work. So MASSA itself, we're not a fly-by-night company by any means. We've been around for over 50 years. And a lot of people, well, we never heard of you. You've been around 50 years. But historically, we have grown more on the kind of the association side. We have a big presence internationally throughout the Caribbean. About 10 years ago is when we started our group benefit division. That's whenever I started at MASSA at that time. And we've started going through just really a lot of exponential growth, just because the way the market's changed, the way you look at reimbursements, all of that. And there's just that growing need out there in the community for a solution like this. And so, as Rodney was talking about, with another municipality that really saw a need for something like this, it went, in fact, what, 2-1, right, I believe? Yeah. So 2-1, and it was extremely, extremely well received. Again, it's kind of, we'll get more details about that here in a second, but it's more structured as an opt-out. So it is voluntary in a sense, but it is an opt-out type of structure. And we are completely engaged, with that municipality as far as education goes, so everybody has that chance in understanding exactly what this is, and they can make the best decision for themselves at that time. And just to give you an idea, over 90% of that population in that municipality is still enrolled at this point. And we've heard some very positive feedback from those residents over the last, 60 days for that. So, why is the need for this? Well, we all know that EMS is crucial, right? It's one of those necessities out there. It's one of those that, unfortunately, when we start looking at budget lines, though, it can have a little bit of a burden at times, right? Especially when we start looking at reimbursements, just the cost of operations, things like that. But even for the individuals, it's something that is becoming a concern for the, for your residents. But, before we get into that, just we start looking at just the size of the industry itself. There's over 23,000 ground ambulance providers nationally. There's over, I think it's 300 different aeromedical providers too. What a lot of people don't realize, I like to kind of do some of the trivia questions, how often is EMS dispatched, throughout the country? 1 every second. There's 1 air ambulance every minute, right? So you could be at home, you can be, traveling halfway across the country. You just never know when that emergency is going to happen. That being said, though, there's a lot of those air medical programs out there, even here locally in the DFW. There's nothing wrong with those, but the problem with that, I say there's nothing wrong with them, but one problem with those is you have to be transported by that provider, otherwise you're not covered. I don't know about you, I don't know when the last time I planned my next emergency, but it's one of those things you just never know is going to happen, right? So when I mentioned just the concern that's out there, for individuals. And I just noticed the sources aren't on there, so I apologize for that. But 1 in 4 refuse to be transported because they're worried about that bill. This is from a 2024 study by YouGov. And, that's concerning, right? What I didn't mention before, I worked as a paramedic for myself, over 14 years. Both city EMS, rural EMS, flying a helicopter. I actually ran an EMS service also. So I was sending out those bills, so I truly understand that. But one thing that always bothered me is when you have that patient that you know they need to be transported, but they're worried about that bill, and so they refuse to go. And unfortunately resulted in worsened outcomes, right? But it's just the reality of what it is, and it's just gotten worse over the years. And then nationally, there's been about a 32% increase in those charges. Obviously, I don't know about here, locally, but we have really truly seen these type of increases when it comes to the charges themselves. Not to mention that, a majority of providers are also out of network, so it increases that exposure potential to the individual who's transported. So again, those bills are getting higher and higher. They're having to pay more and more again, so now they get scared because they hear that story. They don't want to go to the hospital. Now they have a worsened outcome, right? So that's really what MASSA really helps. One thing that MASSA really helps deliver is the fact that that peace of mind, right? That you can get the care you need when you need it without the fear of that bill that follows. Now, the second part that we really help solve for, especially in a program like this, is what Ronnie was talking about when it comes to just EMS collections itself. I know historically, those collection rates are low outside of insurance, Medicare, that sort of thing, right? And so those low collection rates puts the burden on the budget line. In addition to that, you start having just account receivables, challenges and issues that requires more time. Or if you use a billing agency, higher costs associated with that too. And not to mention just the collection, fees that potentially come along with that. In addition to that, because a lot of providers are out of network, now they face those, surprise bills. We've probably, or most of us probably heard of the No Surprises Act. That obviously helps cover the air ambulance piece. But one thing a lot of people don't realize is that since that law got enacted, there's been about a 200% increase in denials by the medical insurance. So now, guess what? Now they're stuck with the entire bill. So it hasn't really gotten much better when it comes to that. So how do we solve for the problem? So, today's state, without MASSA, we already kind of covered part of this right there on the left side. And not to mention, we start looking at uninsured residents. Those collection rates tend to be extremely low when it comes to that. So you're basically end up writing off a lot of that bill. Not to mention a revenue cycle is lengthy in many cases. But with MASSA, what we can do is we help start creating more predictability in that revenue. And we'll talk why that's the case here in a second. But by doing that, we're also shortening the revenue cycle. So what may have taken 2 or 3 years for someone to pay off, it's potentially paid off within a couple weeks, right? So it's more money back into, really into the service. Ultimately, you're helping really control when it comes to taxes, subsidies, anything like that. So it creates that additional value for what you're doing if at some point we decide to move forward. And then ultimately, obviously, creating community goodwill, which is important because, just the leadership behind there, foresight and seeing and understanding the problem and the challenge there, and providing a solution to it. So how do we do it? Well, we have a solution that we currently call the Essentials. So as you can see here, there's, on the screen it's 3, but it's really 4 benefits. So it's emergency air, emergency ground, and then hospital, the hospital air, and hospital ground. The purpose of this is not necessarily to take care of the entire bill, but it's to help take that sting out of the bill. So again, people can have that confidence to get the care when they need it. And for emergent ground, or for the ground transport piece, it's a $750 benefit. So for example, if someone owes $600, we're going to pay that $600 now to the provider and get that completely settled and paid off so they don't have to worry about that. If the bill's $1,000, we're going to pay up to $750 of that, and now they only owe $250. So that's much more manageable to the individual for that. And then for the air transport, it's a $7,500 benefit. And, you know, obviously when you start looking at denials, that's not going to cover the entire bill by any means, but for those that are covered under the No Surprises Act, it's, you know, deemed necessary by the medical plan. That $7,500 is going to cover almost all of it, if not all of it, a majority part of the time. So again, they have that confidence. And I always just like to kind of put in perspective, even $750 with the cost of this on a monthly basis, you're paying on it for over 9 years. And then for a $7,500 benefit, you're paying on it for 92 years. So I think that's what a lot of people start realizing is like, I better have this now because I'm paying on this a long time if, you know, if I really needed it. And when it comes to the claims itself and how that whole process works, simply when someone gets a bill, all they have to do is submit that to us. There's no claim forms they have to fill out, nothing complicated whatsoever. It's very straightforward, very simple. They can either upload it to our member portal or email it direct to our claims department. We want to try to keep it as simple as possible. This does also cover the entire household. So unlike your traditional health insurance, maybe through an employer where it only covers, you know, your immediate family unit, this will cover, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, grandma, whoever's living with you. As long as that's considered their permanent residence at the time of that claim or that transport, they're also covered under that for that. So again, it provides really enhanced offering and enhanced benefit with that. As soon as we receive the claim, we reach out to the provider. We just basically get them to bill us as a payer, send us the run notes. They do everything like they do with your medical insurance. We just want to justify, number one, it was a legitimate transport, meaning that you didn't call it because you had a stub toe, which that never happens. So for us, though, we ultimately try to err on the side of the member. So a classic example I always give, let's say that you have chest pain, you call 911, you get taken to the hospital as an indigestion. One thing that we're seeing now, we're seeing that get denied more and more because they're saying you didn't need to go to the hospital by ambulance for indigestion. So, you know, whether it's TRICARE, Medicare, all those government payers too are also starting to deny those type of claims. So again, it's becoming a big challenge within industry. But once we say, yes, legitimate claim, we get the payment submitted to the provider. The member gets notified saying, hey, we paid this amount. If we covered the full amount, great, it's completely settled for you. Otherwise, you may owe just whatever that balance may be. But you definitely want to make Can I ask a question here? Yes, sir. So your judgment on an approved claim versus an insurance company's approved claim are not in line with each other. You make your own basis for decision on that?
We're much more lenient towards the members.
So
we cover a lot
an individual in this program who may have their insurance denied will still likely get a benefit from you to cover.
It's a very high probability.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, thanks.
I think the last figure I heard was over 96% of the claims that were denied by the medical plan we end up covering.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, good, thank you.
I think it was 90. It was in the 90s. I think it was 96.
Does that include treatment transports, AMS?
So this particular piece, this particular plan, no. But we do have options through like employer groups and even direct to consumer. The consumer side is really more to a very targeted audience. It's a higher price point, has a lot of travel related benefits, things like that. But those plans do have treat no transport for that. This particular one does not. Again, we just want to try to provide some kind of basic coverage that's very cost effective and very beneficial to the community with this. And then, you know, obviously I know it's just discussion today, but you know, whether it's next month, couple months, whenever it is, if the city decides to approve it and move forward, and this is not like a months-long implementation at all. We already have basically everything built out now. It's just a matter of us just working closely with the city administration and just be able to get everything aligned. We'll provide even the content and the materials that can go out with the water bill ahead of the effective date. So those that don't want to enroll can notify the water department accordingly and get that completely taken care of up front. And then when it comes to as we approach the effective date, again, it's very little workload on the department itself.
because you can just basically do an export of the data we need from the system, and we upload it to our system at that point. So you don't have to go one by one entering every single person in. And again, I mentioned this is an opt-out type of deal. So if someone 3, 4, 5 months down the road, or someone terms, or they move away and you need to cancel that, we do have a portal that you can just log directly in and just click a couple buttons and they're turned. So it's very straightforward and very simple with that. And then really just last part, it just reiterates and kind of summarizes a lot of this stuff we've already kind of talked about. Again, it is considered voluntary, although there is a kind of automatic opt-in to start with an opt-out. That way we can make sure that, people, number one, take a lot of workload off the city by doing that. But then secondly, it's really to help us really establish the rate, for that. And then when it comes to education, like I said, we can partner. We can provide all the materials, the content. If you want to post stuff on social media, we can even provide some content for that and guidance as well. And I just live in Mansfield myself, so I'm willing to come and even host some town halls or meetings, educational type of opportunities too, just for the community if there's any interest there for that. And that's it. I don't even think I said the price, did I?
No, that's what I was going to ask.
So that's the scary part. It's $6.75 per household per month.
And how often is that reviewed? Is that an annual?
We don't foresee in the near term that number changing. So we don't think it's $6.75. It's not like introductory cable rate where you pay $6.75 year one and then you're paying significantly more. We don't have that concern rolling in. And part of that is Mass's financial strength as a company that has well over 2 million members, 400 employees. This is not a startup company that's not sure of what they're doing. The model is proven over time. And the important thing from Hub's perspective for our clients is that it provides really a tangible benefit for the residents at a price point that most people can afford. And the covering the entire household, to give you perspective on that, at $6.75, you're about 25% of what their typical program costs. And their typical program is not for an entire household, it's for a single person or for a family. And it's significantly different. So those were all parts of the things, and I can tell you for your staff, we want that initial lift to be easy. It is. There is some data, so it does take some time. I'm not going to tell you it's just simple. There is some data pull. Once that's done, it's managed at the portal level. And my team is here to support Will and his team if there are anything that come up. But I'm really proud of this program because it's something that we were able to solve a problem for one of our clients. And through that, other cities, and I told Craig and the mayor this, we haven't even talked to that many cities about this. We've talked to about 14 of our clients, maybe 15. And I will tell you at this point, about half of them are moving forward with it. So it's a really nice program. Glad to answer any questions. One thing that we'll touch that I think is super important, if you choose, and I'm just picking a date, August 1 as the start date, between decision time and August 1, there's a lot of communication that goes out to residents. We do not want your residents to think this was slipped in. We want them to know that this communication piece is going out, and from the city's perspective, it's billed in arrears, so the city is not fronting money for the payment of those premiums. We've collected it from the residents. Once that collection is done, we coordinate that with your water billing cycle. So the collection is done, dollars are captured, submitted to the NASA, so the city, once again, is not fronting money for the program. We said a lot in like 10 minutes, so thank you for being patient with us.
Do you have any questions? The one thing
Oh, I do. Sorry.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so there is a fee for the city, or is this just something that we put out to the community and they? or opt out?
Yeah.
Got it.
No direct fee.
Thank you.
To clarify, it's on the individual basis, it's not the whole city that has to sign up for it?
Each resident will have the option. Everyone, to be crystal clear, every resident, day one, so to speak, will be opted in the program, but because of the lead time that we want to provide, we're going to give residents at least 60 days to say, I don't want it. And one thing Will said is 3 or 4 months from now, someone could opt out, but what he didn't say is 3 or 4 months from now, someone could opt in. They've changed their mind, they've had something in their family that thinks, you know, I should do that, they have the option.
And I think that this is gonna come with a lot of education too, to not to interrupt you, but in conjunction, I would assist, in transparency on letting people know what our approved fee schedule is, that is in line with all Medicare, Medicaid, and federal regulations. So what we bill out through our third-party billing company, Emergicon, put it in perspective, what an ALS2 would be, an $1,800 bill. That's the base rate, and then above that, we charge if we do specific procedures, and then for the mileage, and then for the oxygen. So, I mean, a fee could be well above $2,000 for that. So when they understand that that's the possibility that you're going to incur for you having chest pain and you need to go to the hospital versus you can opt in on this, obviously there's a significant savings, and it's going to be a lot less burden on you when you see the raw data. And once he gets done, I'll throw a bunch of numbers at you that outlines exactly what he's talking about from our specific city and where our financial position is from the 24-25 cycle to give you a perspective of what this would do.
So you're saying if somebody gets ambulance call, let's just round it $2,000 for the service. The insurance, I would say is what it is. It's gonna pay $750 of that $2,000.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, so typically, so the way that process works is, so they'll bill, if they have medical insurance or Medicare or, you know, any other kind of, I guess, payer on that front, you bill them first, and then once that's adjudicated, whatever that balance is, you as the patient, that's when you get that bill, then you send us a copy of that bill. So that $2,000 bill, insurance may pay 1,000 of it, insurance may pay 1,500 of it, or insurance may pay none of it. So just depending on where that lies will depend on what we pay, but it's up to that $750 for that. One thing I did not mention that I do want to be transparent on too, if someone is uninsured, because this is designed to be a secondary payer, if they're uninsured, they still get a benefit, but it's capped at 20% of their out-of-pocket up to that $750. And so if you take that $2,000 example, they're still getting a $400 benefit in that situation, which, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but generally that $400 is a lot more than they typically get, generally speaking, for uninsured. So it does provide that, again, that additional cash flow, if you may, back into to the city from the EMS kind of budget line for that. And again, the ultimate goal on that side is to help control any increase in tax dollars or subsidies, anything like that that has to go back to help support the EMS.
It's a complex conversation when you start talking about, as you know, EMS services, and you deal with a city, and then you have a county overlay, and then the next thing you know, you've gone to a neighboring city to respond to a call. So it's tied up your assets for 1, 2, 3 hours when you have need here in the city. So
You touch on that, actually. If we can get partner cities to opt in, i.e. Kennedale,
It'll help a
where
lot
the benefit
because you have
would
a
lie.
greater,
Yeah.
anytime you can get clustered areas where we have more people subscribed into the program, I mean, the city of Everman is not looking at this to make money, but it does present an opportunity for the city to at least recover some costs that you're going to have anyway. And if it's at the same time a benefit to the residents of the city, it's a good program. And in the healthcare environment that we're in, and so many people have really high deductibles, it helps offset some of that deductible expense. So it's a good opportunity. So thank you for the added part that really sheds some light. Thank you.
yes.
Anywhere in the United States or Canada.
So you could be in Hawaii.
So
Let's go.
That right there, that point right there is what separates one of the other things that separates this program from any program. There is not another program like you could be in Kalamazoo and recover.
Yeah, majority of the subscription programs would apply for you responding to your home, to that registered address. So that is the major difference in subscription.
Yeah, that's what we call provider-specific programs, where it has to be by that particular provider that you have that subscription service to. With us, we're provider agnostic or no network, so you're covered by every single provider in all 50 states and Canada.
Most of you were on council when we used to have our own internal program, or it was $4 or $5 on the water bill, and was it $8? Okay. We had an amount on the water bill, right? And that ensured that if the Everman ambulance responded, you wouldn't get an ambulance bill. That was obviously taken away through Supreme Court rulings and no longer existed, and we had a lot of very upset residents regarding that. This is a similar style program with, in my opinion, some bigger pros. One of the problems we had before with that program that we had is that if our ambulance was busy in Rendon or Kennedale or Crowley had to respond, unfortunately, they were under no obligation to honor our internal program. And so we were getting residents that would get an ambulance bill from those companies, and the first people they would call would be the fire department or EMS or City Hall to ask, hey, I thought I was paying this on my bill. This alleviates that. It doesn't matter who transports the individual, they're covered. The question that I've got that I asked Chief to research, which I think is the numbers that he's going to share with you, something to be mindful of that they've talked about is cost recovery for us, and the point that we're in in our budget and continuing the level of services that we have within EMS is really important. We collect less than 25% of what we bill out. I know that for a fact, but can you just highlight some of the numbers?
So to put it in perspective, and remember these are 24, 25 budget cycle numbers, because I wanted to give a complete term. Our collection rate was just under 25%. That means that of the 100% of the bills that we sent out, 25% of return on. Our rates are anywhere from, for a BLS call, which means an AMT can run it as $1,300 all the way up to $1,800. And total for the 24-25 cycle, we billed out $970,434. Our return on that was $245,818. So that's a substantial difference there. And so if you look at the 25% collection rate, that means that 75% of the people paid zero. If even 75% of those individuals didn't have insurance, and we're still receiving the minimal proceeds from them, that is still going to be a remarkable increase in the percentage of recovery that we will see, pushing us closer to a 40 to 50% recovery rate versus the 25% that we're currently seeing.
Highlight that number again, the collection number, 200 and what?
$245,818 is what we received.
And it cost us well over $1 million a year to operate an ambulance. So again, as Rodney pointed out, I don't think anybody's approaching this as a way to make money, but I think we have to absolutely look at every avenue we can for cost recovery, because we have to subsidize those operations. We have an obligation to provide these services. We have to subsidize those operations in some form or fashion, and unfortunately, fire and EMS is not getting any less expensive as we move forward into the future, and we're trying to figure out ways of subsidizing this. And the only way to subsidize it is through property tax, and that's something that we're battling. So from an administrative standpoint, staff certainly recommends this. We look at this program, we think it's a great opportunity to increase our cost recovery, to help out our budget, to give us more opportunity to fight for that tax rate lowering that we've been fighting so hard for, as well as give residents an opportunity at something that we lost long ago, that many were very upset about that they lost. Give them something back that is very similar in style. I think it would be good.
I'd also add that, so I have the opportunity as the administrative record to negotiate rates directly with Emergicon, which we do annually. And in the event that we have a bill that comes back that 95% of them get some form of negotiation directly from Emergicon with the insurance provider, whether it's private or whether it's federal provided. Typically, it's a hypothetical game, we bill out a $2,000 bill. they will, generally speaking, will come back just like your car insurance. If you wreck your car, they're going to go really low. How much can we give you with you saying we'll close the claim and we're good to go? $800 to $1,000 is what we, that would be the normal customary, 50% of what the actual bill rate is. This is going to be on top of that. So this is actually going to save them too, because in best case scenario with a Medicare, they've got a $500 deductible. Well, that's still going to be covered off of this one, filling out their bill, putting the burden less on them. And then at the end of the day, if there's still a remaining bill after the cost recovery, it's still going to be substantially less than the rate that I would have originally negotiated with Emergicon to write off. There's a portion of all bills that we write off. It's an acceptable standard, but it would be far, far less with this. And I can say that I spoke with Emergicon. This is hand in hand. They know exactly how this will go, and they've had a great success with it too. So.
I've got one last question.
Go for it.
So let's say I use the ambulance and my bill is $1,800 and my insurance pays $1,200. Are you going to, if you approve it, would you send it to the ambulance itself
question.
or send it to me?
Correct question. So we'll pay the provider directly.
Thank you, that's what I wanted.
Exactly.
Which is another
It
asterisk
was
to this,
on-
because
Yeah.
there's the fee, obviously we have to pay a fee to Emergicon. They are our billing provider. They carry a huge load for us, but every penny that we can get that is not percentage taken, that's a positive. So a direct revenue is an 11% increase.
I was just making sure that it went to an entity that knew how to
Yes.
deal with it and not the person who was taken to the hospital.
I know
We'll never see it. Just check it.
At least for that side of it.
We're not asking for a vote or anything tonight, but would like enough deliberation to get guidance and a general consensus from council on whether or not you wish to move forward with this. If the consensus is that you do wish to move forward with this, we'll certainly work very closely with Rodney and Will to put together a timeline and plans. I try to anticipate what I think your concerns will be. Remember, this is an opt-out program, not an opt-in program, so we have talked significantly about the public education piece, letting residents know this is coming, willing to host town halls if that's what you would like to do, using CTY systems, water bill, digital signage, whatever means you would like for us to advertise, we will use those means. But
And we can completely support that too, by providing the content and materials for that.
Well, that's the part I thought council would have the heartache over, was the you had to opt out of it.
No,
So,
it's gonna be easier
Yeah.
to opt out than it is to opt in.
And I'm glad you said that. Ronnie, we talked about this. How easy is it to opt out?
Literally, the gentleman that you commented on earlier, that's your poster child for customer service, that sits at your front desk, I don't care. Email, telephone call, smoke signal, don't want it, you're out.
Yeah, and that's something we can work and kind of give some guidance on where we think, like where we saw success already with that municipality, where it creates a paper trail and all that for you, but it's very simple, very straightforward. I mean, it literally takes someone, for example, you go to the website, fill out a form, and they go in, opt out, done. They'd be done like in less than 2 minutes to opt out, and then you just handle it on the back end as far as going into the system. This after it's effective, you go in the system and just
So like
turn it
Rodney
off.
said, it's not like canceling a gym membership.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
And that was, when we went to Massa with this, that was a big part of it. People don't want to go and that's it. And they were in agreement that.
Oh, yeah.
That was important to them also, so.
And you look at the older generation that doesn't want to get on this, that they could call the city and say, I opt out and let the city handle it.
so it does cover, if you have 10 people living in your house, everybody's covered, as long as it's their residency.
We just have to have proof of the residency.
And it's not eligible to our businesses, it's to residents only, so.
There's no way to track who would be at a given business location, so, the residents is it, you have, in 2026, you have a lot of grandparents, parents, nephews, nieces, whatever, under one household, as long as they can prove residency, but
Will you be able to provide information like this in Spanish as well?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
everything, I think virtually everything is bilingual.
Yeah, so that initial insert, because we had to develop very quickly for the other municipality, it was English only at that time. But I know that we're already in the process of getting that converted over also. It's literally like a one-pager, so we can do front and back.
Any other questions, comments? So we're looking for kind of a consensus to move forward.
Correct, yeah, if we can get just a general consensus on whether council wants staff to move forward or not.
Linda? Johnny? Okay. Okay, we're all on board, so.
So what we'll do from here, since it recognizes it requires a formal vote from the council, I guess, if there may be possibly, what we'll go ahead and do behind the scenes, since it's the general business, we'll go ahead and build the structure up. So when you say formally, this is what we're adopting, we'll be ready, and we'll go ahead and have the material ready. We'd like to have more of the analytics if we go and share some of this with because I truly believe in this program. Finally, I get to do something that's actually a solution. So that's really important for me.
What you're saying is we need to remember this in a couple months.
I say that out loud. I thought.
Nothing negative, right?
So, I had that call earlier today. But thank you all for your time. I didn't intend to take so much out of it, but I do appreciate the questions that you asked. They were very good questions. And those questions actually help us, because if we don't know an answer, we can find it out. So thank you for that. And, we look forward to continuing to serve the city. We'll start to stand up behind the scenes now, and we look forward to formal.
All right, thank you, Rodney, thanks,
Appreciate it.
Will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is going, we're voting on this possibly in May.
Yes, ma'am.
So when will we discuss this with the residents or do a town hall?
You would be voting in May to approve the program. We would then work with Rodney and his team and Massa to develop this, and probably, I think we talked about 60-day notice, right?
Yeah, I think if you approve April or May 12th, I think that's all.
Yeah, May 12th.
I think
We can still do.
July,
Yeah,
July or August.
Yeah, I mean, because with the general consensus, again, we can go ahead and start a lot of that work on the back end, for the next month and have it ready to go. So as soon as we get the formal, vote and approval, we can have everything immediately sent over as far as the inserts, materials, all of that.
We'll have everything already made.
So,
So in other words, I think July 1st is very doable, and you'll still have 45 plus days, really, I guess.
It's
in
really
general
your
for
call.
us.
You want
But
to do
yeah.
July 1, we can make it happen. If you want to push it to August, that's fine.
so that would give us, from the time you vote to the time of implementation, whichever timeline you choose, that's how long we would have for the public engagement piece to host town halls and everything else.
We want it to be perceived as a benefit, not as a pressure or hurry. So 1 month delay.
And if it is approved,
Exactly.
May 12th, we would have the flyers ready to go out for the June billing, which would go out a week or so after that. So, yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, next item is monthly reports. Item 1, Police Department.
Okay, to all you guys, real quick, all right? No offense, no offense.
You have 5
It's already,
minutes.
already 7:30, we're not even halfway through this meeting yet.
Believe me,
I was gonna start the 3-minute counter.
our records management system, our records management system was ahead of you on that. My report's a lot different this month. I was gonna keep it brief anyway because we had a packed agenda. While I was compiling the numbers this afternoon, our records management system decided it was going to assist me in that and stop giving me data. So you'll see a lot of X's starting about mid-page, going down. I have no numbers for those. The computer got restarted several times, and it was not on our end, it was on the end of crimes, and it just wasn't gonna work. The overall activity is pretty consistent with what it has normally been month to month. Next month, I will have the numbers. I'll fill them in for you very quickly as we go into the next report. And also offer a comparison between the months that we've had so far. The highlights page, I have no traffic enforcement data because that's usually the last one I pull. The computer was already on apparently a long weekend. Sad to report, Officer Frias, one that we recently hired, was doing exceptionally well. She has chosen to resign and move on to another endeavor. That puts us 3 short at the moment. We just had 2 go through the psychological evaluation this past, or a week ago yesterday, as a matter of fact. We're waiting on the evaluation results there so we can move forward to the next step of the hiring process. The good thing is the psychological is further down in the process, so the last remaining steps are pretty quick. So hopefully both of these will pass with flying colors, hopefully, and we'll be able to bring both of them on board very quickly. One of them is an experienced officer in the area. He will be able to start relatively quickly. Long time experience. He should be a very quick study in FTO, be on the street very, very soon. The other one is a 3.5-year experienced officer out of the San Antonio area. Most of the time has been with a school district, so we just have to teach him street. We have to educate a little bit, but he's got a good working knowledge of law enforcement already. So that will help us quickly. And just as a reminder about the risks that our officers do face, even in a town the size of Everman, as we always say, we're surrounded by Fort Worth. We have Fort Worth problems. We don't have Fort Worth resources. And to emphasize that, just in the last couple of weeks, we've had 3 different incidents where our officers were physically assaulted, one of which the suspect was actively and repeatedly trying to remove the gun from our officer. Luckily, he did not prevail. But this is the stuff that our officers face literally day in and day out. Just because we're a small town doesn't mean we don't have a problem. Any questions? Thank you.
Hey, Marcy, will you come up as a part of police department? And you, ma'am, can take your time. I'm not going to rush you. It's your first one. You take all the time you want. Plus, I know that I've already told Marcy that you guys are probably going to be very eager to hear from her. I am so excited to have her with her experience and her background in other agencies. She has been a beacon of light every time she walks into the police department, every time she walks into City Hall. She is so bright and smiley. She loves pink. And she is doing a phenomenal job already. So, a beacon of light. I like that. A beacon of light.
Thank you so much for having me. I am truly grateful to be here, be a part of the city of Everman. I grew up in Arlington. I did grow up in an area that was considered low income, was in dire need of resources. So I was able to actually work and serve that area for a good period of time. So my goal here in the city of Everman is I have located some areas of need, and I would like to educate our citizens. And I would like to also, because I'm also addressing health and safety. That is very important, but it's also very important to educate our citizens. So with education, I take the time first, if I address a complaint, which is going to be what is on the performance summary considered reactive. Those are complaints. When I address complaints, I normally try to make contact with the citizens. Now, I am one code officer, but I do try very hard. I get out to address those complaints pretty quickly, and I try to make contact. Normally, that means, trying to knock on doors, trying to talk to the individual, because I think that's the best way to go about trying to address a complaint. I have established some processes within iWorks, which is the data system that we use to collect case reports and our data. What I have done is established a somewhat of a process. So we start off with door hangers or notices of violation. It is officer discretion, but some situations where the violation may be simple, like a little bit of trash, a little scattered trash, I would just give a door hanger. I would try to make contact. If it's a little bit more significant, I would start out with a notice of violation. So after the notice of violation is given, a time frame is given, and that time frame can vary. And so with most calls though I would give about 10 days, and then I would do a follow-up inspection. Sometimes residents will call in, they'll have concerns, they want to know like what is going on in regards to the notice. A lot of time, they do feel a notice of violation is a citation. It's not necessarily a citation, it's a warning. A citation is very much like a ticket. So what I do is I try to explain to them on the notice of violation very clearly what is the violation. So I use some terminology that our citizens may be more familiar with. So I'll say please remove your outside storage, but I recognize that a lot of citizens may not understand what outside storage is. So I explain in the notice of violation that outside storage may mean furniture, tires, tools, things of that aspect. Trash and debris are normally, if it's scattered trash and debris, I'll explain that in the notice of violation. If it's a junk motor vehicle, sometimes I will maybe put the license plate in the notice of violation, or I'll description. I do explain to them that, they have 10 days. If some of our residents may need a little extra time, so I give them the opportunity. If they give me a call or they shoot me an email, I'll give them a little time. We have citizens in our community that are in need of resources, so I'm trying to coordinate how to obtain those resources to kind of help our citizens. So we have people that are in need of maybe getting their grass mowed, and maybe they have a disability, or they're just unable to do so, or if they have a significant amount of trash and they may need a little assistance, I may be able to reach out to entities or churches to see if we can kind of get some people out here to kind of assist our residents. So with that being said, I'm big on education, so I like to educate the public. I have created 2 flyers. One is for residential neighborhoods, and so I am sending these out kind of by street. And so, for instance, I gave you an example in the packet. So I started off with Prairie Street, and it's a smaller street, I've received some complaints on it, and so what I did was I sent out the packet to kind of let them know. It's all typed up and it's written where it states like these are the common violations that I'll be looking for, and it kind of gave a time frame when I'd be out. So I gave them a period of time, so maybe about 10 days I think, or about 14 days, to kind of let them know that I'll come out and kind of visit the street. But I also attached pictures, and so the pictures kind of help explain what are the common violations, just in case they're unsure of the terminology. So some of the common violations, as you guys know, maybe are property maintenance, where the house may be falling apart, we have peeling paint, we have boards, things are falling down. Fencing, sometimes we have fences that are dilapidated, motor vehicles that are inoperable. We also have trash and debris, vehicles that are parked in the yard. We have grass sometimes that may be higher than 10 inches in height. And so right now, there is a little bit of that going on right now, but with high weeds and grass season, that's going to be approaching the next month or 2, so we'll start seeing that pick up. And of course, outside storage, which is like appliances and furniture, etc. So I started out by sending this out to Prairie Street. I did a reinspection yesterday of Prairie Street. And it was really interesting because I did have someone call and ask about the flyer, because they were unsure if this was like an official notice, but it was more of it's for educational purposes. So she did state to me that there were several people that had started cleaning up, that started throwing away their trash. They were kind of getting it together. And so when I did go out yesterday, I seen only a few residences that had some issues. I've seen quite a bit of people that were actually made a significant amount of progress on their property. So that's what we're looking for, to see progress, to try to see, I even seen, as I was out there, people started coming out and mowing their grass. So I was like, that was nice to see that. So I have also, my plan is to send out these flyers to different streets to get them kind of acclimated with what code enforcement is. And I want them to kind of understand that we're here to help. So I'm not just giving out tickets. I'm trying to help the community by educating them. But just kind of letting them know that we're here for them. They need some resources. But we also want to ensure that our city looks great. And so with commercial properties, so I started off with Everman Parkway. I sent out the same flyer with some different information with the common violations that we see on commercial properties. So with that being said, on commercial properties, we see parking lot striping issues, potholes, trash and debris. You see overflowing dumpsters at times. You see tires, outside storage, graffiti. You might see junk motor vehicles or oversized commercial vehicles that are parked for extensive periods of time. We see bandit signs and sometimes some landscaping issues. So With Everman Parkway, a lot of the businesses, I have sent these out to let them know that I will be coming through, kind of doing a little inspection. Some of these are some items that I'm looking for to ensure that they're in compliance with the City of Everman ordinances. And so I did drive by last week on Thursday, I believe, to kind of, and yesterday, I drove through the business parkway just to kind of ensure that things were cleaned up. We have some parking lot striping issues, but those are somewhat minor. As far as trash and debris, I did notice that when I drove through the backs, like I would see most of it was, I didn't see much of it. The dumpsters were taken care of, so that was good to see. And so I will follow up with those properties. And so every time that I send out a notice of violation, I'll be following up promptly. When I receive complaints, I ensure that I give the citizens a call back. So you have about 72 hours, but I try to call them back immediately. That way they know they feel heard, and they feel understood, and they know that I truly care about what their concerns are. So I've only been here a month, but I've opened up 41 cases. We've closed about 7 total violations, because each case is one address, but one address can have multiple violations. So I have observed about 62 violations. For the month of March, we didn't have open records requests. For the month of April, we have had some come in. Proactive, which means I'm proactively going out and observing these issues without, they're not complaints, this is what I'm seeing. So far, I've stated there's 44 in total, and I've had about 18 complaints. In the city of Everman, which is just like similar cities nearby, our primary violations that we see are outside storage and trash and debris, as well as parking in the yard. When highways and grass season picks up, we'll most likely see a lot of that. But I'll try to get ahead of the game and kind of start letting people know we expect for you to make sure your grass is mowed. And so my focus is to ensure I'm preserving neighborhood appearance, promoting voluntary compliance, reducing repeat violations from occurring, and increasing public awareness through education. So in my conclusion, March reflected a consistent enforcement workload with a strong emphasis on property maintenance and community standards. Educational outreach continues to play a key role in achieving compliance and maintaining the quality of life in Everman. So thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it.
One quick question, are the
Yes, sir.
flyers going to be done in Spanish also?
Not at this time. I can work on getting them translated, and then we can have that sent out so that we can ensure everyone is aware of our expectations and everyone is properly educated.
We do have a large Hispanic population.
Yes.
So,
Yes, awesome.
We can help you out with that
Awesome,
tomorrow.
thank you.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, thank you, and she's only been here a month, so just so y'all know.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. I hope so. I hope so. I've met, you know what, and I've met a lot of citizens in just the short time I've been here, and so most of everyone has been pretty kind, and so it's really exciting. I love being able to help, and it's a true passion of mine. So I love working here. Everyone that I've met has been extremely nice, and I'm very grateful to be here.
Thank you.
You guys have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay, so let's take a very brief break. We're coming up on almost 2 hours. It's 7:46, so 5 minutes, so we can get this thing done. All right, I'll call the meeting back to order. The time is 7:54. Next item's Animal Services.
Make it quick.
I picked up dogs. We did have a really good last month, pretty good month. We did pick up 69 dogs total, 15 were from Everman. We had 14 cats, 10 of those were from Everman. We had 60 positive outcomes, so we brought in 60 positive outcomes, which means there's some of them who could still be at the shelter. So the adoption at the shelter, we had 6. Our mobile adoption unit, we had 11. We had 11 returned to owners in the shelter, and we had 12 returned to owners in the field. You see that number's kind of going up? Microchips, they're working. We're getting microchips, and we're able to track them down. So when y'all changed the ordinance and we put in microchips mandatory, it is helping. We had positive outcomes for cats. We had 2 adoptions at the shelter, and we had 5 TNRs, and we released 6 to rescue organizations, and we did return 1 back to the field. Our phone calls went down a little bit for the first time, which was nice. The big things that we did here, were loose animals. We had 23 calls, and confined animals, we had 14, which were our big calls. This was real exciting. We had 18 Tier 1 dogs. We are still 100% live release rate for the year for Tier 1 dogs and Tier 1 cats. Our Tier 2 dogs, we were 81%. Our Tier 3 dogs, we were 85%. And we have a 100% live release rate for cats. So we had a really good job. Mindy and her team did an outstanding job last month. So. Any questions? All right.
No, thanks.
Mayor, Council, sorry for my absence last month. I was at ESD, so obviously we know that there's a lot of evolving parts that are going on there, so I will occasionally be absent here if there's something pressing there that could affect us here. But to catch back up, it's from February 11th through present. We had a total of 207 calls for service. Unfortunately, I am still working through the same issues with our software, and I'm at this close to canceling our subscription and trying another one because it's almost useless to me at this point. I cannot provide the amount of reports that y'all need and that I need with the current software that I have, which is an industry-leading software. I have no idea what's wrong with it. It's driving me up the wall. I would love to provide you with those figures. But I can do the incidents by response because I had to go line by line to count them. So vehicle or fire type incidents is 14, medical emergencies 139, motor vehicle accidents 12, hazardous conditions is 19, and sorry I got cut off there. I was actually in the middle of something, but that did include an incident involving an individual that was electrocuted on a rooftop while working from a high wire line. They were conscious and alert whenever they got there. The crews did have to remove them from the rooftop with the ladder truck on the backboard. So it was a pretty big endeavor for them to complete, but all turned out well. So and then 23 other. For staffing, I will not at all. I'm not saying the magic words here, so don't expect them to come out of my mouth ever again, but I will say that we have hired 1 new full-time firefighter paramedic that starts on April 23rd, and I've hired 2 part-time firefighter EMTs that one started today and one will start next week. They are just in conjunction to assist with the full-time staff, and the personnel that were out on FMLA, they're back to full duty, so yeah, gonna bite my tongue. And then other updates is Celebrate America Fest announcement's going to come soon on social media. I didn't want to take away from the awesome announcements that we've had on social medias over the last week. So probably the end, if not the beginning of next week, I'll have a nice little cool video. But obviously we all know that's going to be on Saturday, June 27th. So mark your calendars now and be prepared. And we're gonna do it big. 250th. We're gonna make it as big, patriotic, festive as we can.
Next item is Public Works.
Good
evening, Mayor and Council. We try to make it short and sweet. I know it's been here for a long time, but for parks and streets, of course, we got our routine maintenance to maintain our buildings. Also, we want to let you guys know we installed some markers on the side of Everman Parkway for the safety precautions, so cars can actually see there's a curve there, and they kind of slow down. So we were able to install those this last month. We also removed the damaged flagpoles that were at Memorial. We already obtained the material to be able to install the new flagpoles, so that's coming up as well. And at ACO building, we were able to put those new parking stops in there. If you see them, there's a couple of pictures there. The guys did a great job on that. They also were able to fix the ones at the DAGS building. They were able to put some rebar on those that needed them, so they won't be able to move around, or when people park there, they won't take them with them. So that's a big thing there. We're also able to install fixtures at the new ACO building, more light fixtures to some of the offices that were needed, as some of those lights were just too dim for them to work on for ACO officers. So they need those lights for sure. And here on Enon Bridge, we were able to install those 2 signs. Due to TxDOT, we had to install those signs telling others that there's a certain weight limit for that bridge, so they can just be cautious and make sure that they follow that. In Johnson Park, we were able to install 2 brand new volleyball courts, and the guys have also been busy doing some potholes. So we did 10 big potholes around the city. I know there's quite a bit more, and we are working on it, and we will get to them. And there's also a couple of asphalt overlays we've done, which are bigger projects, so we had to take care of some of the streets. There's a couple pictures there for you to see. I'm not going to go through that. And now we move to the water department. They've done about 90 plus work orders this past month. We've done a brand new sprinkler system at the Memorial Park. Even inside those little 2 garden areas, there's a sprinkler system right in the middle, so they will get watered, and it's an automatic system, so we can program it at whatever time, and it'll turn on by itself and make sure they get the water that they need. The guys have been busy as well. There's been a sewer line replacement. We had to do a pretty long one as well in Thomas Place. That has been replaced and done, and also asphalt has already been taken care of as of this week. There's have been 3 service lines repairs, 2 main breaks, and 2 curb stops. And there's a couple pictures there that you can see the guys working. There's also more stuff going on this month, and you'll see the following month with a couple pictures from some of the programs we got as we continue to work together to get proper new fire hydrants and be able to have them around town. So that's the program we're working with now. Any questions?
The flagpoles was damaged, was that due to the weather?
Yes, man, it's just older poles and then, yes, cheap poles. I didn't want to say that, but thank you, Suzanne. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, item C, review, discuss, and comment on the draft 2026 Community Development Corporation Strategic Plan.
All right. You each have been provided with a full copy of the strategic plan. This discussion, I'm just going to pretty much cover the highlights. The plan development actually started a year ago in April of 2025. The board of directors, when we sought out to establish a plan, elected to utilize in-house personnel to develop this plan rather than contract this out. Pros and cons to that. One of the cons is obviously that takes a little bit more time because we're utilizing already existing staff to do this. This plan establishes a clear, actionable framework to guide economic development efforts and strategic investment over the coming years. It's developed through a combination of data analysis, stakeholder engagement, and organizational assessment. I'm very proud of this strategic plan. I think it's going to be an incredible instrument for us to be able to use. It's truly a tool that is going to help us not only recruit new businesses and new economic opportunities to come into our city, but it's also going to be a great tool to help us retain them. As I get into the plan a little bit later, you'll see about the initiative matrices. This plan is different in the aspect of this is not just a plan where we've sat back and developed a plan and hey, this is what we hope to do. This plan actually has KPIs and measurements that are going to be focused and reviewed on every year with the CDC to ensure that we're taking the proper steps with this plan. So Everman's really at a pivotal point, located within one of the fastest growing regions in the nation. If you're not aware, Tarrant County is expected to surpass New York City in population over the next 2 decades. So just keep that in mind, that we are truly one of the fastest growing areas in the country. We're very uniquely positioned to attract new investment, expand our commercial base, enhance opportunities for residents. At the same time, the community faces challenges that many other small communities face, including limited retail options, aging infrastructure in targeted areas, and the need to diversify and strengthen our economic base. Strategic plan provides a roadmap to navigate these opportunities and challenges with intention and focus. The board worked together to focus on developing a proper mission statement and a proper vision statement. I have to tell you, this was probably the hardest part to get everybody to agree to on the plan. We probably spent 2 hours talking about our mission and vision statement alone as we went through, because they wanted to be very intentional and very thoughtful with both of these. We also selected several core values, and that was a deep discussion as well as we looked at all the varying options, and those were stewardship, revitalization, resilience, empowerment, and creativity. Very, very thoughtful work on this part to make sure that we were setting a great foundation for the future of the CDC, future of the city, and obviously this plan as well. The plan does include a community and economic profile. I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. This information is provided by Retail Strategies as a part of their market analysis. It's great information to put into our strategic plan. The strategic plan, as I mentioned a minute ago, is a tool. It's actually something that we will utilize to distribute to interested developers and potential developers who we are trying to attract and bring here. They want to see that we are serious about economic development, that we've really thought it out, and not that we're just trying to attract a business, but we actually have intentional development occurring within the city. One of the other things that we made sure to include in the plan as far as data analysis goes is the sales tax collection moving averages. This is important because it highlights the continual economic growth with a tremendous spike occurring around 2023 when we started to really see a big economic shift within the market. One of the other things that we did was a land value per acre assessment, which is really a critical tool in guiding strategic development decisions. It provides clear, data-driven visualization of how efficiently land is being utilized. So when you look at these 3D maps, and it's always hard to kind of show you a 3D map on paper when you print it out because it's still. But we now have the tools available to us to take these 3D maps and manipulate them and look at them and really dive deep into certain areas. And when you're seeing these large, low-lying areas, you're seeing a low value per acre assessment, meaning that these are underutilized or underdeveloped areas that really need a focus. On this map in particular, I'll try to get my mouse over it, because everything's going to go a little slower than me. There we go. Right in this area is the Everman Parkway and South Ray Street corridor. As you can see, that's one of the major intersections that we have here in our city, and it's in desperate need of redevelopment and some attention. So that'll be a key point as we move on through explaining this plan. One of the things that we did was we made sure to reach out to the public. We engaged with several of our business owners, and we published online opportunities for residents and citizens to give feedback on what they thought our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats were. All of which are included in the plan. Some of those, I'm sure, are no surprise to you because many of you participated in that discussion. But we made sure to identify what those are within this plan, so that when we go to review this plan annually, we can look back and see how those change year over year with the CDC. We worked through several different options and decided to settle. The board decided to settle on 4 strategic priorities. The first one being business attraction and retention. The goal of that is to expand the local economy by attracting neighborhood serving businesses and retaining existing employees. We took it a step further and we assigned objectives to each one of these goals so that we actually had something measurable that we could try to attain. These objectives include recruiting at least 3 new essential businesses, such as grocery, hardware, medical, etc., within 5 years. Conduct quarterly business recruitment and expansion, or BRE, visits with at least 10 existing businesses annually to monitor needs and retention. Market at least 3 priority development sites annually to brokers, developers, and site selectors. And then launch a facade/small business grant program by year 2, awarding a minimum of 5 projects per year. Associated with that first strategic priority, one of the things that we talked in depth about was what business types the CDC wants to invest in or really try to attract. So we came up with a list of our top 10 business type targets, and that's what this list is. They include grocery/supermarket, which we all know we consistently hear. We know that's likely the number one. Entertainment, family fun, youth recreation, coffee shop, quick service and sit-down dining options, dry cleaning services, senior services, medical or family medicine, hardware, agricultural supply, and then a bank/financial institution. This is not saying that we're going to turn away any other opportunities. This is just saying as we are going out, and it gives us the direction, and really retail strategies the direction that they need on which businesses we should be reaching out to and trying to recruit to bring into the community. Our second goal was, our second strategic priority was catalyst sites and corridor development. The goal meaning to unlock key parcels and corridors as anchors for long-term economic growth. The objectives there are to work with property owners to develop a concept plan for large undeveloped commercial tracts by year 2. I'm excited about this one because we're already on top of this one in year 1. We're doing great things there. Support at least 2 corridor redevelopment projects such as facade or site reuse or new development within 5 years. Install gateway signage and corridor branding on at least 2 major corridors by year 3. And align at least $2 million in infrastructure investments with catalyst site development over 10 years. Now, before you panic as we go into budget, this is not saying within 10 years we're asking for $2 million from general fund. This can be private investment, it can be TIF investment, it can be grant funds, it can be state funds, lots of opportunities, but the goal is to align at least $2 million in infrastructure investment with catalyst site development over 10 years. I believe that's very achievable.
Back up to the previous installed gateway signage. What do you mean by that?
Gateway signage, so as you're coming into the city, we want nice, beautiful branding for the city of Everman. So the welcome to Everman signs, those kinds of things. We need to be establishing our brand as you come into the city. And we've got good signage on a couple of our corridors. We've got some older signage on a couple. Like the one on Wichita and the one on Forestville Drive, those 2 are fairly new. The one on Enon is older. The one on Everman Parkway is probably the oldest, and all of those need some love. And quite frankly, they are a little undersized now with all the development that's occurred around them. They don't really stand out either. And they don't offer much branding as we talk about trying to create a brand for our community. Our third strategic priority was community image, branding, and quality of place. The goal is to position Everman as a vibrant, business-friendly community with a strong identity and appeal. Our objectives here are to launch a CDC branding campaign, such as Invest in Everman within 18 months, implement corridor beautification projects, landscaping, lighting, signage, those sorts of things on at least 2 corridors by year 3. Track and increase social media marketing reach by 15% annually, and then facilitate at least 1 public art or placemaking project per year, such as murals, sculptures, pocket parks, those kinds of things. Any questions there? All right. And then our fourth strategic priority is quality of life and workforce supportive projects. This goal is to invest in amenities that strengthen workforce stability and make Everman more attractive for residents and businesses. The objectives here would be to partner with Everman ISD and nonprofit organizations to deliver at least 2 new youth/rec programs per year, complete feasibility and design for a community/youth recreation center by year 3 with a construction target within 10 years. Support development or rehab of at least 50 workforce housing units within 10 years. And I always get a lot of questions on this one, and we did as we were discussing this with the CDC. This is similar to the Six Stones program, for the county home program, where we're focusing on 50 homes within our community that are considered within the workforce class. We would do that through partnerships, grants, or incentives. We would also formalize at least 2 workforce development partnerships, TCC, job training providers by year 2. I will tell you we're already in the works. At the last TML meeting, Region 8 in Forest Hill, I was introduced to an individual who partners with TCC for this specific thing, and we're already hitting the ground running on those opportunities. So,
What is
job training providers, so things, programs similar to CTE, but not necessarily for high school students, for anybody in the community. So they host things like job fairs, recruitment fairs, training opportunities. We do this through TCC. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations that do it. Tarrant County Resource Center right up the road also offers a lot of opportunities. Things like welding certifications. They even offer some limited nursing programs. It's LVN, which is kind of an introductory nursing program, but LVN is a great start career for many people who don't have a career path. Additionally, as a part of this plan, we've identified specialized zones for economic development. When we went to the Economic Development Conference late last year, and as we've had continuing conversations and attended TML conference, we've learned a lot about downtown revitalization. And when I say downtown revitalization and downtown Everman, you kind of get some weird looks, right? Because we're 1.8 square miles. What do you mean downtown? Well, it's really important for economic development purposes for us to really identify a downtown district for a couple of reasons. One, it's a great economic development tool. 2, it's a historical preservation tool. And we have historically not done a good job of protecting our historical preservation. So we need to do that. And so that was a focal point with CDC. We also, utilizing the land value per acre assessment, identified several redevelopment zones, and then we also identified our retail corridors. All of which, the purpose of identifying these areas was to drive our funding into these specific areas. So as the CDC is looking to make funding recommendations, we start reviewing 380 agreements, we start a facade program, a small business program. The goal should be to target these specific areas. Otherwise, we're just kind of throwing money into this region, into this region, into this project, into this project. We want to prioritize and focus the funding that's available to us one step at a time, focusing on these specific specialized zones. So those maps are provided within the plan. We've identified redevelopment districts, with the first priority redevelopment district that was expressed by the CDC being the Everman Parkway redevelopment district, because it has the most frontage and the most dilapidated and rundown businesses. So this has got to be, and I don't say that to be offensive, we do have closed up businesses over there that are sitting vacant. We have vacant lots over there that really needs a lot of love. So this area was identified, and it's a high traffic area. This area was identified as our #1 priority. This is what CDC wants to focus on right out of the gate, is improving the Everman Parkway corridor. We also identified some other districts within the community that need some redevelopment, including the area off of Enon Avenue, which is the old downtown area essentially, where we've got the museum building, American Barricades over there. There's a roofing company over there, Knox Machinery, that area. Also Advanced Cast Stone area, that business is in need of some redevelopment and some love in there. And then also right here at the intersection of Wichita and Enon Avenue, that area was also identified just based on blight and things that need to be revitalized. Facade upgrades, those kinds of things. This is what we call, again, low-hanging fruit, where it doesn't really take a whole lot of funding to come in here and address these kinds of issues. We can do facade grants where we're offering, $5,000 to a business in a grant program. They'll match it with $5,000, and they can go out and paint and redo their facade on the outside, making it look like a whole brand-new corridor. So it's not super expensive. It's a great program that we're looking to develop going forward. We identified our retail corridors, which probably will not become, and these are major retail corridors, not every retail business that we have, major retail corridors. Those include Everman Parkway, essentially from city limit to city limit. So as soon as you enter into the city on Everman Parkway, all the way to Ray Street, including the undeveloped land in that region. It also includes the undeveloped land along Enon Avenue as you lead down to Tacos Oasis and Four Corners and the convenience stores down there. And we also identified the property that's owned up here that was previously supposed to be the Munet project. That one has been identified as a retail corridor as well. And then finally, our downtown district. Our downtown district has been identified essentially as Pittman Park, the Munet project area, leading down through the Civic Center, City Hall, coming all the way down Ray Street to Enon Avenue, and then paralleling Enon Avenue and Trammell all the way past Roy C. Brooks to bring in the old downtown Trammell Street projects that we have down there. Any questions on those? Okay. This is where I talked about the plan really takes, it's not just words, it's not just us putting it on paper, it really gives us the tools that we need to put these plans into action. So towards the back of the plan, you'll see that there's an initiative matrix that talks about what each one of the objectives that we outlined are, how we're going to work through those, what funding opportunities would be available for those, when those projects are expected to be, or objectives are expected to be completed by, and then how we're going to measure our success on those. Also in the plan, you'll find that we have an Everman funding toolbox. So CDC develops this plan, although it's not just CDC funds. There's lots of funding opportunities available for economic development, including sales tax revenue, grants, bonds, capital financing, TIF, tax increment financing is a big one, public-private partnerships, or P3s as we call them, and then interlocal and regional partnerships, all of which working together really come together to collaborate and make a great funding toolbox for the program. And I'll answer any questions. I will tell you we are hosting a business luncheon on April the 23rd. At that luncheon, I will be presenting this exact same presentation I just gave to you to all of our local business owners and landowners that'll be in attendance. My hope is to have retail strategies there as well. And it's just an opportunity for us to share what this plan is and give us final feedback. We'll take that back to our CDC board at their next meeting, and based on the feedback we get from that meeting, any feedback that you have here, and any community feedback, make determinations on what in the plan needs to be changed, if anything, before they recommend final adoption, and then it comes before you for final adoption. Any questions? Okay. That means I did a good job.
Next item, item D, discussion related to the potential adoption of a zoning ordinance that would modify the permissible use table to require a special use permit for dance halls and ballrooms in the C1 Neighborhood Commercial District.
All right, this is just on here for discussion because it does require a public hearing and some steps. But before we started taking those steps, what I needed to get from you is any other changes that you may wish to consider. So at our at a recent zoning hearing, one thing that came to light as a part of that, and a question that I got off on the side was, hey, we don't allow this particular business type in C1. However, we do allow dance halls. Dance halls can be these event halls that we have, and we are seeing more of those pop up. We currently have 3 of them within a 1-block radius along Everman Parkway. So the request was, hey, we need to look to limit this within C1 zoning and allow it in C2, but let's restrict it in C1 by changing it from, currently it's permitted, and you've got three options within zoning. You can make it permitted, you can make it not permitted, to where under no circumstance are we allowed to allow those businesses, or you can allow a special use permit. Dance halls and ballrooms is a pretty broad definition. Yes, it does include event halls that we are seeing over there, but it could also include, you know, a dance studio of some type. It could include a lucrative ballroom that you may be interested in doing. So we can allow for a special use permit, which essentially means on a case-by-case basis, each one of these would come before you, and you would make an informed decision on whether to allow that to exist or not based on the special use permit, and there would be guidelines that they would have to meet. I don't know, I provided each of you with a list of permissible uses in C1 and permissible uses in C2, which is essentially C1 plus these few extras. One that stands out to me would also be the smoke shops, which falls under the classification. Sorry, can I borrow this? I meant to print me a copy and I didn't. I believe it's tobacco and others under retail. Oh, here it is. Drug, apothecary, pharmacies, and sundry. That's the classification that allows the smoke shops to exist within C1 zoning. We do have one smoke shop within C1 zoning along Everman Parkway. I will tell you our police department has been working to address significant issues and concerns at that particular business. And we've recently had an interest in another one opening up along Enon. Fortunately, I was able to converse with the property owner and we were able to go a different direction from that. But it is currently permitted flat out in C1 zoning. So I don't know if that's another one that you would like to consider moving to an SUP or just moving it to C2 altogether. But wanted to kind of open this up for discussion, get what your guidance is, and then based on your guidance, we'll work with the city attorney's office to draft the necessary notices. We do have operating businesses already in existing. They will be grandfathered in. So we're not taking a business away from them. If you change zoning, they're not going to have to shut down their business. However, if they do shut down, change ownership, any of those things change, they would no longer be allowed to operate that business there. And we will have to send them a notice along with the owner of the property, a notice letting them know that, hey, their business could potentially be shut down due to this. So just letting you know that's the process here.
You mentioned dance halls, you said on Everman Parkway?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
There is one currently in the Strip where Armadillo Bar and KJ Cuts is, and there are two literally next door to each other. They share a wall in the Everman supermarket mall strip. One of them is a little bit larger than the other. The other one is actually pretty small. They mainly host kind of small birthday parties. However, that is the location where I think you all have received a communication, a complaint regarding it being overpopulated. We've had to have law enforcement respond out there and shut events down. I know the fire marshal has been called related to violations of city ordinance and code and violations of their CO because they've had way too many people. What's the occupancy of that one? Like 50 people or something, right? 50? Yeah. So they were way exceeding occupancy on their events.
So what has more teeth? Would it be not the moving it to C2, that would be the Third option, special use.
Well, so moving it to C2 means it's not allowed at all in C1. I mean, you are removing it entirely. It will never be permitted. There's no option for them to have it in C1 zoning. If you want to allow it within C1 zoning under special use, meaning it's going to come before you under a special use permit, and you're going to review it on a case-by-case basis, then you would change it from permitted to an SUP, a special use permit. And you can approve or deny those however you. Yes. And their CO would be tied to that SUP, so whatever is approved as a part of that SUP is the only allowable business operation there. So they couldn't come in and say, hey, we're going to operate it as a Zumba, let us get an approved SUP, start off as a Zumba, and then change it later to being a nightclub or an event hall or something like that. Their CO would then be revoked. So they have to comply with the business plan that's submitted as a part of the SUP.
And we wouldn't allow a combination, because there's currently one that is certificate of occupancy is listed as both. And that would effectively skirt this in the future, but wouldn't if it was supplied as a special use.
So it would be nice to have a map of where the C2 permissible uses are.
You are 100% correct, and I should have thought about that before, and I did not. But if you give me a second, I will try to pull one up for you. Yeah, it's on our permit website. I updated it. Okay, I am going to try my best to share this. We do not. And I will tell you, we do have very limited C2 zoning. Abdil, would you be able to share my computer screen? Perfect. No, it's frozen. Too much data. Oh my goodness, why is it going so slow? It is going so slow, it's like frozen. I'm sorry.
Because you wanted to.
Yes. Okay. C2 zoning is going to be all the purple areas. So I'll go up there and show you. This is Everman Parkway, so this large strip right here is considered C2. Where McDonald's is considered C2. There's one very little strip of C2, which is where the lawnmower repair shop is. Up along Enon Avenue, down here, closer to the city limit, where we've currently got Rob Iron Group, the old roofing company, that's C2. Looks like there is a couple of C2, all this down here on Shelby Road across from back to junior high is C2. Currently Taco's Oasis, Four Corners, and that vacant lot right there is C2. So overall, fairly limited. Usually C2, and I have to be kind of honest with you, the city had a contractor back in 2014, professional services contractor that did a lot of this work and developed our updated zoning ordinance and our future land use map. Our future land use map does not correlate with our current zoning standards, so those two are incompatible, and it's something that has been on our radar for a while that we really need to update. But the zoning changes that took place in 2014 really made a mess of a lot of this stuff, and has made it kind of difficult. Typically, C2 zoning and A1, A2, any residential are usually considered not compatible, and there's a buffer zone of some type of zoning between those. We do have a significant amount. I mean, almost every single one of these C2 zonings is immediately abutting residential. Usually you've got C2 that downgrades to C1 before you start butting up, or even a business business zoning, before you come right up against residential, unless it's multifamily residential. Those two are usually fairly compatible, but you don't often see C2 zoning butting up right up against residential. Unfortunately, we have a significant amount of that. There's no way to correct it at this point unless we have owner request zoning changes. City cannot initiate zoning changes.
I have a stupid question, I think. If you have a C1 special use, can you do a C2 special use?
You could. You could allow for special use in both.
Because these are less desirable, the two that you brought up. Last thing we want is a bunch of trashy.
We don't want it.
No, we don't.
We're a very small city, and look at the teeny amount of C2 and where it is. And either of the things that we're discussing are not compatible in those areas. And so I'm just gonna be brassy and say I'm okay with not having either of those two types of businesses here. And then grandfather in what we've got, but not allow more in.
You can stop sharing my screen. Thank you.
So what's the best way of doing that? With the C2
If-
special use, or we could deny them, or would it be?
I would be cautious about saying you don't want to ever allow any of them, because there could be a good economic development opportunity, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head where, hey, there might be a good business that does fall underneath.
What about like
dance
ballet
halls.
or something
Ballet.
for youth
Yeah.
that is a good type of dance
The
studio?
drug apothecary, pharmacy, sundry. So I would be cautious about saying we're just not going to allow them in any of the zonings. But I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, we want to require a special use permit in C1 and C2. That's not saying it's not allowed. That just means that, unfortunately for you,
We're gonna investigate.
you're gonna have to consider these at meetings, and P&Z will have to consider them at meetings. So if you're okay with that's the only real downfall, is that you're gonna have to review it on a case-by-case basis in a public meeting as a part of a zoning request.
So what if we just, let's say we did that, and somebody comes in with something that we just don't like? Would it be okay under the special use to say,
You approve and deny,
your business?
you approve and deny the special use permit. Now, it needs to be a legitimate articulable reason, and it can be that, hey, we don't believe your business model is gonna be effective, or we believe it's gonna be a disturbance to the neighbors, or whatever the reason may be.
Or it doesn't fit into our long-term plan.
Yeah, I mean, I would caution you, and I think that unfortunately Victoria's not here tonight, but I think Victoria would caution you just, because I don't like you. There needs to be an articulable reason behind.
That is, I'm
I know.
I don't like your business. Okay, but I get it.
Right.
Okay, so I take it back, and special use, and leave it in C1 maybe?
I think both.
So move it to C2?
Have a special.
I think they're saying make it a special use permit required for either C1 or C2.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. Oh, that's fine.
And are we doing that for the smoke shops as well? The
Yes.
drug?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Are there any other businesses, I know that you're just now kind of getting this list, but any other concerns, anything else we need to look at changing potentially?
Well, maybe like the tire, well, not the tire, but the one that started as an oil change facility and then now became a wrecking service because they work on all these cars and they're all parked in the back.
It's a mechanic shop now,
Yes,
it's not really an oil change place.
They-
It's just oil change.
You won't like my answer on this one.
Oh, the one on the-
That is an SUP already, and they were approved in SUP by the Planning and Zoning Commission and Council back at the time.
Are they, what are they? I mean, so.
A
are they
a mechanic,
shop?
it's a mechanic shop. Mechanics are not allowed within C1.
Yeah.
C1 allows for auto parts, however, underneath C2, it is under retail sales trade, auto repair, garage minor.
Okay.
They have an SUP, they are allowed an SUP under C1, and they were granted an SUP whenever that came to y'all.
Okay, but.
There's an SUP on file.
Yeah. So I don't wanna get off topic. But I could make some comments about the junk cars that are around it, but I won't get off topic.
Well,
Violations.
I think, I think there may be some other avenues to help address that, the concerns with that particular business, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so only other one I'm looking at is the packaged liquor stores. We already have
We
two.
have plenty. Yes.
We don't need any more. So we need to, do we need to consider that for a special use also?
I would say yes. Yep. I mean, we have two healthy ones, and they're doing well. A third one's going to diminish their businesses, and we just don't want that many of them in town.
How many taverns do we have? Just Armadillo right now?
Yes.
They're not a business.
Yeah, Go Putter one of those.
Yeah.
Patio.
Patio.
Oh,
Yeah, sports
yeah,
bar.
that's more of a restaurant.
What would that include? Hickory Stick also? I mean, they do sell alcohol.
Yeah, yeah, true,
No,
true.
not underneath that, no. Packaged liquor is gonna be your liquor store, but the restaurants can still have an alcohol license.
Right.
They're operating under restaurant, they're fine,
Okay.
yeah.
Then that'd be my only recommendation of this, was to add the packaged liquor stores, cocktail ledges, and taverns.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, we want to move smoke shops, the dance halls, and packaged liquor stores, all three, from permitted in C1 and C2 to an SUP in C1 and in C2.
Correct.
Okay,
If I could make one more suggestion, because it was a part of a previous hearing, pawn shops.
Pawn shops, yes.
so pawn shops are permitted in C2, they are not permitted in C1. If you want to allow pawn shops in C2, I mean, you can change that. If you want to allow them on occasion in C1, we would need to change that to an SUP. If it's, they can operate by right in C2, meaning they don't have to come before you to open up a pawn shop.
Okay, I missed that one, but you're right, that needs to be added
Okay.
as a C1.
So we will also move pawn shop from permitted in C2 to an SUP.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I think I'm good with everything else.
Hey, we could have a funeral home.
That one's not on our top 10 business type.
Okay, moving right along.
Okay, is that what you need for that one?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
Okay,
Okay, let's get the show on the road. So,
yeah, let's go.
next is consideration possible action. Item A, resolution number 2026-04-01, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, authorizing the city manager to solicit requests for qualifications, RFQ, and/or request for proposals, RFP, for the expansion and renovation of City Hall and providing an effective date.
I move we approve resolution number 2026-04-01 as read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion on this one. Okay, we have, in working with the TIF board, we were working on allocating funding up to $500,000 for the renovation of the animal shelter project. We've talked about City Hall for a long time. The long-standing plan for City Hall has been to build a new City Hall someday. Construction costs for new construction are continuing to rise. Land availability within Everman is also continuing to dwindle. And so we've been continuing to kind of look at this and see what the varying options are. And we're kind of at a unique opportunity here that we wanted to present. So we ran this through the TIF board. And the TIF board unanimously elected to recommend that we move forward with this option that I'm about to explain to you. Instead of paying $500,000 cash money out of the TIF fund to go and just handle the animal shelter, an option that is on the table is that the city could take out $2 million in capital improvement loans from government capital, which would be a 10-year repayment plan, costing the city, after year one, just right at about $200,000 a year to repay this for 10 years. Something, 247,000. I sent you the finances on it. What that would do in preliminary conversations with engineers is it would allow us to renovate our current city hall, which unfortunately is very embarrassing, and it's bad. The exterior is not very welcoming. Many people struggle to even identify it as City Hall. We get a lot of people that come over here to the Civic Center thinking that this is the City Hall when actually it's across the street. We have done our best over the years to really try to do what we can with the space by building, the cubicles. Thank you. It's getting late. Building the cubicles and partition walls inside of the old council chambers to make space that's available for them. Our lobby is way undersized. It's also not very conducive for our permitting processes because when people come in, they have to kind of search and figure out where do they go for permitting. It should be pretty easily accessible. She's tied up back in a cubicle. Storage space is limited. There's where the old council dais used to be, full of all of our storage. So storage is not there's not much of it available. Kitchen is in desperate need of some upgrades and repairs there. Our flooring is in desperate need of repair, and it's just not very conducive to a good work environment. It is also not designed with safety and security in mind, which is often a big concern. I've always kind of, and I hate to say this publicly, but I always kind of laugh at the fact that we have to badge our way through an all-glass cheap door to get to the secure area. That doesn't offer any protection. The windows that are up there for our staff, our UB staff and court staff are not ballistic windows. Those offer no protection. So there's a lot of safety and security concerns that are included with the design of our existing city hall. So this is the current city hall floor plan. It's obvious that we've outgrown this building now. That's why we have staff that are housed in the DAGS building and staff that's housed over here. You have to kind of find people wherever they go. Here's the current layout as well. This, as I mentioned, this funding would allow for a renovation of the current city hall, and it would allow for a 3,500 square foot addition to City Hall to allow for, and this is a proposed concept design, to allow for a brand new permanent council chambers that would be just under 1,800 square feet. In comparing sizes, the Forest Hill City Council chamber is currently 1,100 square feet, so this is about 600 square feet larger than theirs. It would allow for a dedicated mayor's office within City Hall. We've never had a dedicated executive session room, so in figuring out how we can have a dedicated executive session room, making the mayor's office large enough so that it can be both the mayor's office and an executive session room also gives him an opportunity for when he does have conferences and guests within City Hall, he's got a space within his office to host that. It would allow for a brand new city secretary office that would include 128 square foot, roughly 128 square foot archives storage off of her office, which is desperately needed because anytime she needs to put anything in or out of the archive, she has to take it to the records room, which I don't know if you've seen the records room in the last decade, but it is not properly conditioned for long-term storage of records. And things that have been stored over there were not stored properly, causing some issues. Water leakage and that kind of stuff.
Need a hazmat.
We would expand, with the renovation of the existing city hall, we would expand the lobby size significantly, allowing for more space. And for when customers come in, one of the things that we struggle with is, 3 people go in there to pay their water bill, and everybody's hearing that John Smith is 3 months behind on his water bill, and you owe us this and you owe us that, and we get complaints from people. We don't want people necessarily all in each other's business and knowing who's in debt and who's not, and there should be a level of privacy expected when you're inside the city hall lobby, and there is no privacy whatsoever when you go into that city hall currently. We also want to be able to provide service windows for our records and our permits department. So when we have a business owner or a resident coming in and needing a permit, they can go to a service window and get service immediately, not have to try to find out who's running permits, or they got to come out of an office and then you're having a conversation in a hallway looking at plans while you're holding them trying to figure it out. It's just not very, very conducive. So widening and making the lobby much larger, reworking some of the office spaces to allow better layout of the building, allowing us to also bring our Public Works Director back into City Hall, his admin assistant back into City Hall, giving us a spare office space, larger storage space, a couple of printers. Whoops, I didn't mean to, nope, I went too far. Hold on. A couple of printers on each side. The chambers portion of the building would have a separate lobby. So that way, when we have a public meeting, the only time this lobby would be open is when we have a public meeting. We would have restrooms off this lobby. So, gosh darn it. We would have restrooms off of this lobby. So when we don't have a public meeting, it actually gives employees a private space away from the public, not having to go out to the lobby, more secure to use the restroom. It also blocks this part of the building off from the rest of the building, meaning that we can close the rest of City Hall and still conduct public meetings at 8:30 at night, or 9 o'clock at night, like we are right now, and not have to worry about the functions of everything else. Off the council chambers, we would like to have a wall here that has very large windows, allowing a lot of natural light, making the room feel very large, and a very large outdoor patio area that would serve as a great reception area for ceremonies. Things like today, people always want to take photos or go have cake, and unfortunately there's still business that needs to be taken care of. They can go outside to do that, or we can celebrate retirements, all that kind of stuff. It also gives the employees a great break area that's outside to give them some fresh air. Fenced in, fully fenced in.
Did you have a kitchen in there?
Yes, the existing break room, it would shrink slightly with this new office layout. However, we think, I would be comfortable shrinking this break room down some, knowing that we've got significant outdoor space and the the chambers and all that. This would be roughly where it would extend. Tarrant County Precinct 1 Commissioner Miles has already agreed to support us with a parking lot expansion and a renovation of the existing parking lot, so that would come to us at no cost if we choose to do this. But it would expand our parking availability in the front of City Hall and expand employee parking only on the backside of City Hall.
Drive-through?
Yep. Summary addition to include office spaces, council chambers / courtroom. We want to make sure it's designed for dual purpose. Mayor's office / executive session room, a new break room, restroom. I'm sorry, that's not supposed to say new break room. I don't know why that's on there. I think it's supposed to be the outside area. Expand the asphalt parking lot and fenced-in outdoor reception area. The remodel will be the exterior facade upgrade, larger lobby, new flooring throughout, adjust office placements, new doors, service windows for UB court, permits, all with security in mind, making sure those are ballistic, and then resurfacing the existing asphalt parking lot.
Drive-through?
Probably not. And I'll tell you, currently our drive-through is it's utilized very little, very little. It was heavily utilized during COVID. I'm gonna knock on wood and say that hopefully that never happens again, but it's so underutilized.
Make us stay in our houses.
No. This is the concept design of the new council chambers and courtroom. Again, separate lobby with security checkpoint area before entry, high quality durable hotel grade carpet, quality audio system, because we all know this audio system's horrible. The video system, we're halfway having to fix it half the time. It's permanent, it's built for this. Dais can be permanent, but we would want the staff tables that are on the side there to be movable for customization for court or hearings or anything else. Each dais position, we want to equip it with a computer and locking drawers on the side so that each of you will have a place for your mail. You'll have a place to come in and work. You'll have a place to lock things away if you need to. Floor outlets, channels, power, audio, designed with quality acoustics, well insulated from outdoor noise, because we can't have meetings in here when it rains. Designed with separate entrance exit ability for council judge. We could utilize this space for voting if needed, absolutely. That's not something that's come up before, but
City council members vote.
oh, yes. Yes, so the audio system would have the touch screen that would allow for voting to occur on the touch screen. Instead of having to have a TV up here to show you things, you're going to have a monitor right here in front of you. Much more conducive for council meetings. Large windows on the south side for natural light. Offices needed. We have 4 different executive size offices, 3 different director offices, and then several standard size offices. I'm trying to speed this along. Here's an AI generated rendering of the exterior facade upgrade. The goal would be to mirror what the Civic Center and the fire station have had with the traditional architecture, bringing this style here, making it more modern, and frankly, more appealing.
Yes.
This will have an economic benefit to it because we won't be so embarrassed to bring prospective business owners and developers into our city hall. Currently, I am embarrassed. We don't like to bring any of them over there. If we schedule a meeting, we're doing it over here.
Snob.
No, we just want to be impressive. A concept rendering of the lobby, the goal here would be to mimic an old train station, to reflect the history. I gotta give credit to my wife on that one. But to mimic the history here, bringing in the older architecture, kind of bringing that old train station feel back. That's really
That's gorgeous.
an identity of our community. Any questions? Oh, let me add this. By approving this resolution tonight, you are not approving funding, you're not approving a dime. This would allow us to engage with a contractor to get final numbers. We need to get final numbers before we come back and finalize the financing. So nothing gets approved as far as expenditures until you approve that financing. Any questions or concerns or comments?
No, looks good. I think we need to move on it.
Okay, so with that being said, no other discussion, would you poll the council?
Place 1. Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3.
No.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6. Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, item B, consideration of appointment of 3 city council members to an ad hoc city hall design committee.
So this is in conjunction, now that this resolution is approved. If it was approved, obviously this is your building, you're gonna be working out of it. We felt it'd be appropriate to have 3 members appointed to a city hall design committee to be a part of the discussions and design of the new facility, so.
Are you looking for nominations or volunteers?
Well, there could only be 3, otherwise we're gonna have Open Meetings Act issues.
We would need to do the meetings during the day, so consider that. I mean, I personally would like to sit on it since it's gonna involve my office and the council chambers and everything, so I would like to be part of that committee.
I'd like to be part of it too, just because.
I would too. Linda, yeah.
Why not have 4
Doesn't
instead
matter.
of 3?
Do we need to flip a coin?
Well, if we have 4, then we have to notice every time we get together to talk about it, and it becomes a quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's typically capped at 3.
Is there a problem if we do 4?
Well, I mean, we would have to notice every meeting. Now, what we can do is, I think the 3 kind of put in the work and design it, and then we bring final approvals back before the whole council for everybody to kind of comment, weigh in, and approve everything. I mean, I think we could do it that way. But I think if you put 4 on there, it's going to become
Okay.
very cumbersome to discuss this.
I'll step back if Judy wants to do it. I'm okay with that.
No, that's just say Linda can, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I'll be happy to take
Well,
take it.
what if one of y'all were out, then somebody can
I'm not
step in
gonna
for
worry about
that
it.
You
day?
could appoint an alternate.
That's fine.
You want to be an alternate?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm available during the
I
day
mean,
anytime, usually.
At least you'll always have to.
That's
Yes.
fine.
They call
Is that
Judy
okay?
and say,
Sure.
hey,
All right.
take my place.
That's right, that's good. Good thinking.
So if I'm understanding this right, you're about to make a motion to appoint Mayor, yourself, and Linda Sanders to the ad hoc City Hall Design Committee, and Judy Sellers as an alternate, correct?
As read.
So moved.
So,
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Would you poll the council?
Place 1. Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6. Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, item C, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, acknowledging and accepting the recommendation of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1 Board authorizing the expenditure of funds in the amount not to exceed $75,000 for engineering, feasibility, and traffic studies, authorizing the use of the city's contracted engineering firm, and providing an effective date. I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the resolution of the City Hall of the City of Everman, Texas, acknowledging and accepting the recommendation of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1 Board as read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
When would this start?
This is a recommended project from the TIF board. If you approve this tonight, it's up to $75,000. We would work with Teague Nolan Perkins, who's the city engineer, to get a full project scope and cost on this, to begin the work as soon as possible.
Where's the money come from?
It would be coming from TIF fund.
Any other questions?
Can you share my screen? Sorry. These are the particular areas. Both of these areas are located within the TIF zone. Transportation is an ideal project for TIF. That is exactly what TIF is supposed to be funding. Both of these projects, or both of these streets, are in need of expansion and improvements. So before we go and do any wasteful infrastructure projects like just repaving Enon again, I think it would be more beneficial for us to have engineering reports on the potential expansion, and then see if there's any grant opportunities and funding opportunities to thoroughly improve Enon, not just repave it.
So thoroughly improve it and expand it.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Boy,
Is that going all the way down to?
Forest Hill Drive. Essentially, this
No,
would,
I want it to go further.
it would tie,
You
further is,
forget us on the other, you always forget us on the other end.
no, further is not within the TIF zone. So we can't use TIF dollars for it, but this is within the TIF zone. And really, the boundary is actually not going to be all the way to Forest Hill Drive, because the Forest Hill Drive project comes back to the bridges,
yeah.
so it's really not even going to be all the way down there. But the two projects will tie together, and this engineering study will help.
No, it says Roy C. Brooks. Roy C. Brooks, it doesn't need any work, does it? It says from Roy C. Brooks to Forest Hill Drive.
Yes, Enon Avenue from Roy C. Brooks to Forest Hill Drive.
Yeah, starting at Royce.
So starting at Roy C. Brooks at the intersection to Forest Hill Drive.
Roy C. Brooks goes to Wichita, not Forest Hill Drive. Am I confused?
Enon.
Oh.
Enon, yeah, so
Well,
it's the top red line up there from the Roy C. Brooks intersection to Forest Hill Drive.
Okay, on Enon, duh.
Make it,
He's quit. He's quit. I get tired.
It is not o'clock at night.
I'm just
Any other questions? Would you poll the council?
Place 1. Place 2.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6. Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, item D, ordinance number 849, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, amending the Code of Ordinances, City of Everman, by amending Chapter 14, Parks and Recreation, providing a severability clause, providing for a penalty of fine not to exceed the sum of $500 for each offense, and in cases of endangerment to public health and safety, a penalty not to exceed the sum of $2,000. That's a typo.
There's a little typo there.
Yeah.
For each office, and providing an effective date.
Before you entertain a motion on this, there is one amendment to the ordinance under section 14-21, subsection 5B, hours of operation should be from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. And to clarify on that, this is for Soccer 5 USA. Their hours of operation will not be until 1 a.m. However, this ordinance would say that if they had any staff on site after they do close, it would be unlawful for them to be there. So they're going to still close at midnight, but their staff will be there cleaning up. So it should be from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m.
Do we need to say that?
No, ma'am, not that I've read it into the record. As long as Mindy articulates that in the minutes, we're good.
Okay.
So,
So I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 849 as read.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Is that the only change that's been made to the park?
No, so all these changes are in correlation with what was discussed in negotiations with the Soccer 5 USA. So it allows for the sale of alcoholic beverages only, beer, only at Anderson Field and Clyde Pittman Park. It allows for extended use of hours for in the event of city-sponsored events, or at Anderson Field and Clyde Pittman Park. It also allows for the concession areas to operate. It eliminates fees and deposits required for the Everman Youth Association at that field, and now only requires them to pay for the concessions at Johnson. All of these changes are direct correlation with the Soccer 5 USA agreement.
Any other questions? Would you poll the council?
Place 1. Place 2. Place 3. Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6. Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, item E, discussion and possible action regarding Opportunity Zones 2.0 nomination for Census Tract 1112.02, Everman, Tarrant County.
I don't know why that's there. That's my fault. I don't know why it's
Okay.
Felt like an incomplete thought.
So we need a motion? We need to-
Yeah, just a motion to nominate Tract 1112.02 for Opportunity Zones 2.0.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
I move that we nominate Census Tract 1112.02 into the Opportunity Zone in Everman,
2.0.
Tarrant County. 2.0, Opportunity Zones 2.0 in Everman, Tarrant County.
Does that cover it?
Can we clarify what we're talking about?
Yes.
Second.
Okay,
We have a second?
Yes.
Second. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to make this super short and sweet. Opportunity Zones 2.0 is a federal government program that allows for a tax break on capital gains. What this means is it's an economic development tool. If we are designated as an Opportunity Zone 2.0, it will help us to attract developers to come in and build within inside the city, because they will be able to get a tax break on any capital assets that they build here in the community. We have worked to garner, and now have garnered, State Representative Nicole Collier's support for this endeavor. We just had a meeting with her last week. Mayor and I and Susan are meeting with Senator Phil King later this week to discuss the same issue. This will help thrust economic development forward. There's no cost, no expenditure. It's a no-lose situation to nominate and try to pursue it. Yes.
Any other questions? Poll the council.
Place 1. Place 2. Place 3. Place 4. Place 5. Place 6. Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next item, executive session. Item A, section 551.071, seek advice of the city attorney related to possible amendments to ordinance 763, establishing child safety zones. Time is 9:08. We are in executive session. So we'll call the meeting back to order. It is 9:30. No action was taken. Next item, city manager's report.
Got just a couple things. First off, Little Caesars Pizza has submitted for their permits, so we do have a Little Caesars coming off of Everman Parkway. Soccer 5 USA lease has been executed, and we're working on construction for that. Reminder that we have a budget workshop this Friday at 2 p.m. because the Opportunity Zone meeting that we have with Senator Phil King was scheduled at noon in Benbrook. We had to kind of push this back because that is extremely important. It's very hard to get a meeting with a senator, so we pushed it back to 2. And then lastly, we got word yesterday that, just so y'all are aware, the United Methodist Church is likely closing. And as a result of that, the Tarrant County Food Pantry Express that has been here for so long ran through the United Methodist Church. And it sounds like that program will be no more. So we just found this out yesterday. We're going to try to work with the school district and see if we can find an alternative way to try to keep that program going or see what the discussions are, because that is an important program for our residents, so we want to try to keep it up and running if we can. I'll keep you posted on that. Did you have something else?
Just to think, because it's now been pushed later, we won't be having lunch, but there will be
Snacks.
snacks.
Unlike tonight, we'll have snacks.
But Friday is at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Okay.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, there was one.
Yes. Yeah, she sent out a calendar invite today. Okay.
Okay, mayor's report, I have absolutely nothing. That being said, the time is 9:32.